isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Airthings.
I'm ahead of the game.
Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker, but follow me, I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging, I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy, logically, I'm impossibly wanted, and they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game.
Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game. And get paired with players from around the world, fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.
Chessle, the definitive solution for studying chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses. It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the end game with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Krzysztof Sulecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
This is John. John loves to study chess. This is David. David loves to study chess as well, but efficiently. John spends more time setting up the board and figuring out what's on the page of his book than he gets to study. David likes to take it easy and use his time wisely. David has finished his exercise for today. John should try the same.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging. Nice graphics, easy to see. Oh, what are you thinking talking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
That I give him up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
The French, the opening you play against one e4. It starts with e6. We prepare the central push d5. Chess openings are always about fighting for the center, because if you control the center, you can go to any direction very quickly. After d4, we play d5, and already white is at the crossroad. He has to either give up the e4 square, trade the pawn, push the pawn forward.
It's Judgment Day here at the Meltwater Champions Chessle as we go into the final set of the Airthings Masters. It is a fight. It's been an epic battle so far between the world champion and his most recent challenger, Jan-Krzysztof, taking on Magnus Carlsen for this final. And if set one was anything to go by, the epic drama we saw on the board, the action, absolutely thrilling, then I think we are in for an absolute spectacular showdown. The players are going to play a mini match one more time today, but we will have a winner at the end of the day today. We're going to have 4 rapid games with 15 minutes on a 10-second increment. If today ends in a tie, and because set one ended in a tie as well, we move on to a playoff with blitz games, and that's going to see 5 minutes with a 3-second increment, with Jan-Krzysztof having the slight advantage of picking the color because he finished higher in the preliminaries. If that ends in a tie as well after 2 games, then we are going to go into the super fun Armageddon. Chat, the way these two have been playing absolute phenomenal chess from start up until now, a part of me really hopes that this match goes down to the wire. I'm going to bring up chat and say hello to everyone. Welcome on Twitch. A big welcome to you on our Chess24 channel as well as on YouTube. Super thrilled to be here. How's everyone doing? And I see we've got a poll running already. Who will win the Airthings Masters, Jan or Magnus? Quite a tough one considering the kind of form we've been seeing by these two, the kind of punches that they've been throwing at each other. And you know what I thought for today, chat? That we've seen so many tactics, and decisiveness has been one of the key features in this Airthings Masters. It all comes down to this format that we've had in this tournament. So I want to take you through today some of the standout moments that we witnessed during the preliminaries, during the knockout stages, some tactics. Let's see how fast chat is today and how strong chat is today. How's everyone doing? Don asking, is this tournament rated? We do have a special tour rating system which is going to be implemented, and I think there's going to be more information on that as we proceed with the tour. Hopefully both win. Well, unfortunately in sport, we can have only one winner. May the best man win. All right, I'm going to quickly pull up some positions that left a big impression in me. It's a little collection of puzzles really that I've done. So let's see how you guys do this. This is always a bit of a struggle, and let me bring up the first position. All right, so this one, I don't know how many of you remember this, but this was just such a stunning moment from the Magnus Artemiev game. The game had started off slowly, Magnus playing his strategic, typical stuff, Magnus doing Magnus things, and this moment, chat, Black has just moved the king from h6 to h8 after the check from the queen on f8. Let me see if I can draw the arrows. Yeah, I can. All right, so white to play. White to play. Indeed, there's a game tonight, very shortly. In fact, 15 minutes. And wow, you guys are super quick. I always try to bring up these puzzles. You know, today I was thinking I'm not going to bring up puzzles from set one between these two because everyone answers them really quickly. So we thought we'll backtrack and bring up these amazing hit and misses moments of the tournament. But I see you're on point. Mrigank, Kenananda, Surendra, absolutely right. Queen f3 was the spectacular move that Magnus made. And with this, it pins the queen. And White's idea was simple. He goes on to queen the d pawn. And the key point is that Black's king gets checkmated on g5. All right, let's quickly go on to the next position. Oh, wow, really struggling with this. So queen g5. And this is how it is. Hope Magnus doesn't blunder. We don't see so many blunders, but yesterday we did witness a lot of moments, key moments where it was just so complicated and combative. And I have to say, what really impressed me was how Jan played that fearless style of his, ambitious play, which is what created this fantastic match and this fantastic set one. He really pulled Magnus out of his comfort zone. And for a change, we saw Magnus making uncharacteristic slips. All right, let's move on to our next position, chat. Give me a moment to pull that up. 1 second. So let's see if you guys get this one. This is all about building the attack. I think do we have the position on our screen? Yes, we have a position. All right, so chat, this was between Andrei Esipenko and Shakhriyar Mamedyarov. Esipenko had a fantastic debut at the event. He lost out in the semifinals to Jan Nepomniachtchi. And but before that, he was absolutely on fire. All right, so this position against Shakhriyar Mamedyarov. Black's king is exposed, chat. And my question to you is, wow, that's completely the wrong arrow. All right, so Black's king is exposed on 8-7. And yes, here he did take this pawn. How does white continue? I'm going to try to undo the arrows, but it's always a bit of a struggle. Maybe Tad can tell me how. White to play. Meanwhile, you guys have a thing, white to play. And how did black continue? White continue the attack. Tad, can you please tell me how I can undo all these terrible arrow? My arrow game is so not on point. You're absolutely right, chat. Rook f4. Well done. Beat me, says Rook f4. Well, if you play like Rook f4, then it's going to be hard to beat me. So, Rook f4 is what happened in the game, and it's as simple as this. You don't care about material as long as your opponent's king is unsafe. You bring the pieces into the attack, and with this, it was game over. But I have one more question to you before we wrap up this game. That Rook h4 check, King g8. What was the final move of the game that just wraps it up? How did Esipenko finish off Shakhriyar Mamedyarov in this position? Let's see if you guys get this one. So white to play here. Yes, Puran, you're right. It is queen 8-6. And after this move, one can't fight against the threat of queen 8-7 checkmate. All right, I want to do as many positions with you as I can. So I'm going to quickly jump on to the next one. So we have it here. Just a moment. Okay, so this one is one of the very few games, in fact, that Jan Nepomniachtchi lost, and he lost to Levon Aronian. This was the first game of the preliminaries, the only one that he lost at the very beginning, and then went on to set fire to the field. So here he played the move queen d1, and my question to you is, how did Levon finish the game? Black to play and mate in 3. Let's see if you guys get this one. Well done, Alex. Raghav, I see queen 8-6. That's the right answer. All right, so black to play in this one. What's your calculation? It's an absolute toss-up. I completely agree with that, Bobby. Wow, you guys are really sharp today. Well done. Yes, this is the one game, Martino, that Jan lost, and it was game 1 of the preliminaries. And it felt like Jan, is he going to struggle? But we were all proved wrong. That's why he scores so high on the aim chess resourcefulness meter. He just bounced back, and it was just no stopping him. Absolutely right. Knight e1 is the move, and this finishes the game on the spot because it's a mate in 3. White's king only can go to h2, and after queen f2, regardless of where the white king goes, it is queen g2 checkmate. And because Peter's still not with us, I'm going to continue showing you a couple more positions, and I want to see how strong you guys are. All right, let's get one game that I really want to show you. 1 second, chat. Okay, let's go on with this one. And give me a second while I bring this up. Okay, quick question. So in this moment, you guys can see the screen, right? Yeah, Eric Hansen playing with the black pieces, Hans playing Eric Hansen black, Hans white. And here white had to make the move g4 and things are under control as long as the rook defends this pawn from advancing. But instead, Hans made the move king f2. Chat, you have 20 seconds. Black to play. What would you play here? Black to play. All right, let's take a look. Christopher saying, I believe that Magnus has more stamina and will steal the deal last 2 games. I think that's an interesting point about stamina. Well, we know that Magnus has been recovering from COVID and we can see him quite fatigued out as well. It is the final and I think both players have a lot of different factors beyond the board which are affecting them currently, and they need to focus. I think it's going to be a tough day. And the kind of chess we saw yesterday, it goes on to show that they're ready for a fight. So let's hope we get the same stuff today. Absolutely right. Aryan, Elliot, not the move knight a4. Duncan, Hariom, Vishesh, well done. b2 is the way to go for black in this position. And of course, Eric found it instantly. And the problem in this is that white with the king on f2, the pawn on b2 can't be taken because of the fork. And this is how he won. Chat, I've got a lot more positions lined up for you, and maybe we'll get more time once the games kick off and we've got time between the games to solve a few puzzles. But I see that Peter's joined us, and of course, I can't wait to bring him on. So let's do it immediately. Hi, Peter. How are you doing today?
Yeah, hello, Tanya. Hello, everyone. Yeah, super excited. I mean, okay, yesterday's match was just insane. I mean, really, I think it was the most exciting, most thrilling match that I have ever commented on. So it was a very, very special day. The big question is, with all the tension and everything,
have you forgotten the Hikaru Magnus finals from the Kiva finals? I can't believe you just said yesterday was more exciting. I think it was at par with what we witnessed there.
Yeah, well, actually, I was thinking about it, but the point was that here I felt like, the games themselves were incredibly dramatic, while in the Hikaru Magnus finals, it was like, all the scores, like Hikaru going ahead, Magnus catching up. So I thought like that the scoreboard was the real thriller, while here we have just witnessed some insane action over the board in each of the games with so many ups and downs. And I don't really think, and I don't really believe that you can top this.
I completely get what you mean about the kind of on-board action we saw yesterday. Absolutely spectacular chess, Peter. We do have a poll running. I really want to see what are the results. Let's see. I think we've got over 1,000 votes. And of course, the question to our chat was, who will win the Airthings Masters? And let's take a look at what chat says about that. Meanwhile, Peter, everybody in chat sending you their best wishes and lots of hearts coming in. They're just loving the kind of breakdown that you're giving us. Meanwhile, Magnus at 66% favorite and Jan Nepomniachtchi with 33% favorite.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you very much for all the kind messages, and it really gives a lot of energy to keep on going. But actually, kudos to the players, because if the players play such games like yesterday, then it's so easy to commentate. Of course, we are with our full hearts in all the games, but when we see something like this that we have seen yesterday, this is just amazing. I mean, big respect in my heart. I already feel like, both these players are winners. I mean, both of them really deserve to win the Airthings Masters. But we know that if Judgment Day, there can only be one winner. Well, it's the chat has spoken. Yes, 66%. Well, I don't know. It's I think closer than that.
Is that because you might be slightly biased towards a certain player out of the two?
Well, maybe, but actually I'm trying to be really objective, because I feel like, that's the most important thing. And yes, I do understand what people are saying. Yeah, Magnus has incredible, experience holding on all the pressures, and he has fantastic physical condition and so on. But I think here in online chess, it will come down to mental fitness, and the tournament has been very, very, very powerful on both of the players. Yeah, really tough battles. Both of them lost tremendous amount of energy. Also, the big question is that all these incredible fights that we witnessed yesterday, which player is more grounded, from all the exhaustion? Because Even when you play good games, you can get so much euphoric that because of this, you might not be able to calm down as well. So there are many factors. I think that we have a 50-50 match.
A 50-50 match. And I think that just comes down to the objectivity of the kind of chess we've been seeing these two play throughout the tournament. Let's take a look at their road to the finals. We've got a couple of minutes before liftoff. I can already feel the goosebumps, Peter. I really hope we get to see the stuff one more time, what we witnessed yesterday, just the back and forth, the twists and turns, the hits and misses, and all that drama. And this was Jan Nepomniachtchi's road to the finals at the Airthings Masters. He finished at the top of the table in the preliminaries, lost that one game to Levon, and then just went on to crash and crush the field. In the quarterfinals, he beat Vincent, and in the semifinals, it took Jan Nepomniachtchi just 3 games to knock out Andrei Sipienko. Let's take a look at Magnus Carlsen's road to the finals. He finished second, just behind the World Championship challenger. And in the quarterfinals, he beat Leko Liam. And just like Jan Nepomniachtchi, took 3 games to wrap up his semis match against Vladislav Artemiev. Peter, both players have clearly shown that these are the two who belong in the finals today. Yesterday, a fighting draw. One of the big things about set 1 was the opening surprises that we saw from both of these players. Peter, your predictions on the opening action that we can expect today?
Yeah, very good point. I feel like yesterday Jan managed to get the upper hand in the openings. I mean, I don't know exactly what went wrong for Magnus. Was he not relying on his absolutely main preparation? It could easily be. In the first game, he tried the Rossolimo with the black pieces against e4, not e4, e5, but also in the very last game, in the 4th game, when Magnus tried to be as solid as possible, like in the World Championship match with e4, e5, exactly using the same line that he used in the last game of the match, and he still got into some kind of a trouble. And with the white pieces in the very first game, he didn't get anything with white with c4, and also this Taras game. Yes, there were some chances at the beginning, but there was a very quick turn, and it was Jan who had basically absolutely no problems and was maybe even playing for something more. So the big question is, how does Magnus now adjust to this situation? Because definitely now he knows what's in store for him. And I believe that he will be now much more focused on his preparation.
Well, it is the final day. He's got to give everything he's got. Now, Jan Nepomniachtchi starts game 1 with the white pieces. I would say, Peter, 1 e4 is going to be what we're going to see Jan play. But the big question, will Magnus go for e5 or will we see another Sicilian? I want your thoughts on that as well as chat. Let's run another poll and see what our viewers think. Will we see an attempt at the Marshall? Will we see 1 e5 in response to e4, or will we see a Sicilian by Magnus?
So are we waiting for the chat, or should I tell you my...
I feel the moment you say, chat gets very influenced by what you say, Peter.
Yeah, that's why I kept silence. Yeah.
We've given a third option. We've given a third option of something else, but I would be very surprised if it's not 1 e5 or 1 c5.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm actually expecting the Italian to be repeated. First of all, Jan definitely going to stick to e4. There is just no reason why not to. He had a good position after the Rossolimo. He had also a good position in the Italian. And basically, we have been seeing Jan constantly during the whole tournament, consistently playing the Italian and with quite good results. So I'm expecting, that Magnus will come up now with a very good setup, maybe from the black side. And only in this case, if Jan feels like, okay, Magnus is blocking me here, then he might be move on to something else. Otherwise, why not to keep on going?
All right, let's see the poll results. So you're expecting an Italian, which means you're saying that Magnus will go with 1 e5. Let's take a look at what our viewers think. I think we've got kickoff any moment. Jan Nepomniachtchi already Well, ready to go. E5 is what 57% our chat gives. I think our chat knows. I would agree with you and our chat, Peter. 1E5 is what we're expecting. An Italian possible. I don't think Jan will do an anti-martial. I think we're going to see an Italian and not a Spanish position. Jan also got great position out of the Italian in the semifinals. A third game against Andrei Esipienko. Peter, while the preliminaries were on, you mentioned that you're in touch with Vincent throughout. In this event, have you also had a word with Jan at all? Have you been in touch with him?
Well, we have been chatting a little bit, but no, I was not involved in his preparation. And knowing what's going on, I think that it's very, very difficult to even focus on preparation right now.
Yes.
It's more like, support that, of course, I'm truly impressed with his performance, because he's fighting incredibly well. And yesterday's match was just a really epic fight. I mean, that was just hilarious. I was congratulating him on this amazing fight.
Absolutely, Peter. I think Jan has shown brave chess and brave character off the board as well. And it's been spectacular to see this match. Well, he's waiting currently for Magnus Carlsen. So as we know, that's classic Magnus just coming on the dot. And we should have liftoff really soon. Chat, we did run a poll asking you about what you felt was going to be the match outcome. 66% if you think that Magnus is going to win the Airthings Masters. I also want to run a poll for our game 1. Do you think the players are going to start off slow? Will it be a peaceful start to this final set? Will we have a draw or will we see a decisive result in game 1 already? James saying play the King's Gambit. Well, I think Peter has repeated that way too many times that don't keep your hopes up on that one. It's not going to happen, especially not against the world champion.
Yeah, that's quite unlikely. And the match situation doesn't call for it. I mean, everything is fine.
Maybe in the blitz, Peter. What if it goes down to the blitz? Do you think then there might be a little bit of a hope?
Maybe. I mean, Jan is so unpredictable that even if I would have told him 100 times that no, don't play the King's Indian, then he definitely would. Yeah, just to tease me. Yeah, that you see, Peter, I can. Yeah, that's how Jan is.
Jan the troller. All right. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what is the opening. Both players are ready to go. And chat, tell us what you think will be the result of game 1. 1E4 is what we're expecting. Peter, the one thing that felt from yesterday's games, all of them was really that in all these complicated positions and when Jan was playing ambitious chess, taking all these decisions to not bail out in the moment, that's when Magnus got most uncomfortable. We don't see Magnus slipping up very often. But yesterday was one of those days and set 1 just felt like Jan managed to get Magnus in unfamiliar territory, uncomfortable waters, and that's where Magnus struggled the most.
Yeah, but somehow yesterday there was so much in the air. It wasn't really, the usual kind of match. One just felt, the whole tension that both players are trying to give their utmost and safety and trying to play the most correct chess was just absolutely not in the air. It really felt like it's an incredible struggle. Both players are giving their maximum. I think also Magnus was telling it yesterday in his interview that he felt like Jan was giving it all. And okay, if you are pushed to the wires, then okay, there is no this logical sequence of moves. Yeah, it's not a logical fight like you are step by step building up something. The clock is ticking down. There is all these incredible emotions and nerves. And E4 C5.
Sicilian. Wow, we're all wrong there. And a repeat of the Rossolimo, Peter.
Yeah, well, Magnus likes to play this very, very much in rapid chess. It was his main weapon against Fabiano Caruana in the World Championship match 2018. And we see that Jan goes exactly along the same lines like Levon was playing against Magnus. I think this is still very, very similar. Probably now the move bishop takes c6, b takes c6. Somehow this it's already on the board. It reminds me of that game. Yeah, queen c7. And if I'm not mistaken, it was knight c3, bishop g4. It was something like this that we have seen in that game. Interesting to see who will deviate first.
All right, so rook e1 attacking the e5 pawn. Black defends it with c7. Peter, for those of us not familiar with Rossolimo ideas, it's a lot to do with the pawn structure. And it looks like Black voluntarily walks into, well, a strategical position, which is very difficult. You've got these two double pawns. Yes, you've got two bishops. But can you tell us why and where is the compensation and the explanation for Black to take on such an opening?
Well, I mean, that is the big question on both, and Jan goes knight a3. That's certainly a novelty. I mean, at least compared to the game. And Magnus immediately gives back the pawn. Yeah, that's the whole spirit. I mean, first of all, yeah, Black's structure is completely damaged, but White has sacrificed the pawn. Now White is cashing back. I mean, cashing in with knight takes e5. However, Black is saying that, you know what, I'm gonna get very nice counterplay somehow. It's very difficult at the moment to explain how that's gonna be, but there are so many dynamic factors. Yeah, White is definitely trying to sit on this lovely square on c4. But for example, Black
outpost.
Yeah, Black also has this option of going knight b6, targeting the c4 knight, and then maybe with bishop e6, put maximum pressure on the c4 knight. Yeah, and then the big question will be, how is White fighting against all these things? Of course, if the Black knight moves, then White bishop might get to f4. There are all kinds of different ideas, but it's a very dynamic position. And I'm assuming that if Magnus voluntarily goes into this, then he feels that, practically speaking, he definitely has very nice counter chances.
I mean, while the pawn was there, one still felt it made sense to take this structure, but giving up that pawn and blitzing out the move knight f6, clear that Magnus knows what he's doing. But Peter, visually, especially with this knight on c4, a beautiful spot for the knight. The rook on e1 already on the open file, eyeing that e7 weakness. We see the move h3, a quiet move played. So really waiting for Black to show his hand, what he wants to do. You mentioned the idea knight b6, bishop a6, because White really needs to fight against this bind that the knight on c4 and the knight on e5 have created. Peter, h3 is a quiet move, not going in with the ideas that you mentioned earlier. But how does it go from here? Does he go knight b6 immediately? Because then that would allow bishop f4.
Yeah, but bishop f4, knight takes c4 is also still a question. I mean, okay, it's very, very tactical. But there is also one other aspect that Black can actually also play moves like f6, taking this knight away. And after, for example, knight retreats to f3, Black can play the move e7, e5, and then get the bishop out to e6. Yes, it's true that Black still has a weakness, but he's occupying more and more space. I mean, clearly White will try to target this weakness on c5. Yeah, that's kind of the reason why it's not that attractive for me to play like this with Black, but it's also an option. And as I said, Magnus is the expert. He knows why he went into this position. He definitely knows the motives. He knows ideas. For me, it's at the moment very difficult to speculate that what exactly is the move per move idea here.
All right, chat. So h3 on the board and so many different options, so many different plans for both players currently that it's hard to predict a move. Every different plan will be met in a counter way with these plans of b3, bishop a3, or bringing the bishop to f4. Really depends on Black's way of play, which makes me feel that, Peter, the move h3 is exactly meant for that. Jan is asking Magnus to show his hands how he wants to continue development. And based on that, he will decide where to place that bishop on c1.
Yes, exactly. I mean, he still did not want to decide the fate of this bishop. Yeah, he's still hoping that maybe he can get it more active if Black moves the knight. Actually, okay, we have been talking about this knight b6. Let us just quickly take a look. Like knight b6, bishop f4. The big question is that after knight takes c4, is there some tactic? For example, the move knight takes c6, does it work? It seems to me like Black has the move e7, e5. So I don't think that knight takes g6 works. And if it does not work, then you are not able to capture with the knight because the bishop is hanging. Yeah, so that was a question.
Peter, if we take d takes c4 in this position, we double it up, but are you going to be able to defend the c5 pawn? Knight g6 is a big threat. You have to waste a move with the queen.
Yeah, I will move with the queen, but we don't have the time to go deep because actually Magnus has opted for bishop a6, another very typical way of fighting for the c4 square. And Jan immediately blitzed out the move queen e2.
All right, so the main idea is that after bishop c4, he still wants to recapture with the knight, keeping that square in hand. And queen e2 is a nice move, Peter. It also sometimes makes sure that the knight on d5 is stuck to the defense of the e7 pawn. The move e6 is not a happy move because that makes the d6 square really weak.
Yeah, it's but still I'm a little bit struggling to understand the idea behind. But okay, yeah. So it basically means that Jan decided that after knight b6 probably he wants to go for this bishop f4 and knight takes e4 always capture with the pawn, especially now that black has committed the bishop to a6. It can be locked out of the game with this wonderful structure on c4. And Magnus goes for f6, so he's mixing ideas, feeling like I already got my bishop to a6. Now I'm gonna go e5. Jan goes bishop e3.
Jan continues to blitz out moves. Yeah, bishop e3, not a move that you'd play very quickly unless you knew what you were doing. Because yes, it hits the c5 pawn, but it gives black the opportunity to snap up that bishop.
Yeah, but do you want to take that bishop? That's a very big question. I don't think that Magnus wants. I feel like maybe just protecting the pawn with queen e7, maybe. But anyway, then white will try to transfer his knight.
Maybe it's the moment, Peter. Maybe it's the moment that you have to go knight e3. Maybe you start with bishop c4 to not give an additional option, or the point was bishop c4, d takes c4, and you take this position without allowing white the time to regroup with the other knight coming into d2.
Yeah, that's true. But okay, now the big question is how to judge this. The bishop on g7 at the moment is still completely out of the game. This structure is very tricky because at the moment it's very ugly. But if it ever advances to f5, e4, then it will be fantastic. The bishop will be brilliant, and it can be way too superior to white's knight. Very, very double-edged position, but it's not an easy decision because you have to actually understand exactly afterwards, move per move, whose wheel will benefit. Knight takes e3 played by
Peter. He goes for knight e3, queen e3, and now the line that we're looking at is bishop c4. The reason I wanted to play that right now was because the moment you pointed out this f3 knight jumping to d2, I feel like that will really create issues for black to get rid of this c4 square weakness. So I would be very tempted to snap up that knight on c4 while I have the opportunity to.
Yeah, I perfectly understand, but let's take a look. So takes, and now what is your move? That's I think the key.
Wow. Okay, so what is the move here? A move like rook b8, you just want to go b3. I could include rook b8, but I could also simply move my queen and defend the pawn. What about a move like queen b6 here?
Yeah, that's also one of the questions. That do you put queen on b6 or do you want to keep the queen closer with queen e7? Not an easy choice. I have also no idea which one is better. Queen b6. Okay, you are attacking the pawn. Maybe I can even consider taking it. I mean giving it with just knight d2 and then trying to activate my knight. But whenever my knight moves, you also have this f5 idea, not just taking the pawn. So yeah, all these things are complicated.
And I think if you play b3, which is the most natural way to go to avoid queen b2, I think black wants to continue with that idea of rook e8 and f5. But look at this. He's decided not to go for bishop takes. This was the other position we were looking at. But instead of going bishop c4, Magnus decides to keep the double bishop advantage and plays the move rook e8. So saying that he wants to sacrifice the c5 pawn, but he's looking for activity with the move f5 after queen takes c5.
Yeah, knight fd2 played. This also shows that how difficult it is to give up this bishop. Yeah, with bishop takes e4. Yeah, there are good arguments, but for it, but also a lot of arguments against it. Yeah, and in rapid chess, probably Magnus decided that he wants to keep his options as flexible as possible. However, I'm not entirely sure because you highlighted very nicely that now that black was unable to destroy white's pawn structure, white gets this nice grip with the knights, and pawn on c5 is weak, and still white also has ideas like just going knight e4 and then forcing the trade on c4 and activating the knight. Will Magnus go for something like f5 and sacrificing the pawn, or will he go passive with bishop f8?
Bishop f8, your move knight e4 will be a lot more stronger, Peter, because after bishop f8, the f6 pawn is a weakness as well.
Yeah, then I'm basically forced to play the move queen e7, guarding both pawns. Magnus starts with queen e7. Okay, it makes sense.
One still has the feeling that white with this knight d2, knight c4 should be better in the position. The main point is that black's got the worst pawn structure. Currently, the minor pieces for white are better. All these holes are coming knight e4, knight b3, attacking the c5 pawn. And it looks like it could get very tricky for black to neutralize all these advantages that white has.
Yeah, but also now for white, the big question is how to proceed, because if the knight remains on d2, then how do we make progress? Yeah, for example, black might be able to now play rook a d8, and then he will always have the chance of simply protecting the weakness with rook d5, very comfortably also preparing then the move f6, f5, and we'll be talking about completely different dynamics. And if we, for example, believe that that might be the case, that would mean that white has to take action right away. So a move like knight e4 or knight b3 are kind of critical. Jan goes for the move knight b3.
So this once again gives black the opportunity to snap up the bishop, the knight on c4, and force white into this d take c4 position. Peter, at some point, I think black needs to take that decision. Let's take a look at some of the lines that might happen if Magnus does go in for the trade after bishop c4, d take c4.
Yeah, but the knight's lot of psychology involved in this situation. Yeah, that Magnus did not want to take on c4. Jan is saying like, okay, you did not want before, now will you take now? It's
knight a5 otherwise, right? I mean, if you try and defend the c5 pawn, let's just point out that, for example, a move like bishop f8, the only other move that can defend c5, this gives white the additional option to jump from the b3 knight to a5, put more pressure on the c6 pawn.
Yeah, and Magnus grabbed the chance. He took on c4 and went for bishop f8. So we get this structure. He's holding on to his structure, and definitely he's trying to play f5, e4. Yeah, that's the trick, that at the moment it looks like, okay, this bishop is very bad and black's pawn structure is kind of compromised. But actually after f6, f5, e5, e4, getting these pawns to the light squares, things can turn very, very quickly.
No, now, I mean, looking at the position, and especially rook a d1, a natural looking move, Peter, bringing the rook to the open file. I think black has the time to go f5 now and doesn't need to make a move like rook d8 to challenge that file. White's rook isn't entering anywhere, and I think this could be the moment that black could perhaps even get ambitious with a move like f5.
Yeah, f5, and it's on the board. Yeah, Magnus is typically a player, who feels this type of positions extremely well. Yeah, it's very dynamic. Double-edged. Yeah, it's not a simple position to evaluate, but he usually excels in such positions. He has this incredible feeling for all these nuances, like when things are changing, how they are changing. Jan is trying to double up his rooks on the d file. Very, very correct, because there is nothing to, I mean, his rook on e1 is doing nothing. Magnus going for rook a d8, also very natural. Rook e d1, I'm expecting not. Oh, hang on. Can I take on d8? No. Let's just show this, that you can actually take with the rook.
And queen e5, rook e5. There's the nice tactical trick with rook d1, king h2, bishop d6.
Exactly. Yeah. So
super nice stuff.
Yeah, because of this, actually, after rook takes d8, black has the chance of capturing on d8, and then I feel like, no, I don't want to touch this rook. So probably the move rook e d1 is maybe more natural.
Yeah, rook e d1 looks like the kind of move you want to make. And Peter, then can black follow it up with pushing that pawn from e5 to e4? Because now you're already threatening to capture on d8 and pick up the c5 pawn. After e4, maybe black can also think about activating the queen to e5. Let's say rook d2, queen e5 could be an idea.
Yeah, plus also e5, e4 beautifully indirectly protects the...
Peter, actually, let's ask chat to figure this out, that what happens after this line, rook d8, and if there are all the trades and white picks up on c5, how can black continue there? Because there's a nice trick and we've got e4 on the board. Peter, do you want to just bring up that position? Rook d8, queen d8.
Yes. Well, I was actually trying to test the chat, like you have to visualize. Yeah, you have to visualize this position just nice. To feel in the shoes of the players. Yeah, because okay. Yeah.
Peter, that's step 2. We'll do that for the next one. But chat, quick question from Peter here. Knight takes c5. Why can't white pick up this pawn right now? What happens in this position? what is the problem with the move knight c5? Let's see chat if chat gets it.
I'm pretty sure they get it, yeah.
I'm waiting. Well, we have one suggestion of the move queen b6, Peter. Queen b6 is possible, but it's not the strongest move in the position. Peter, your faith in chat is not unfounded. It has been spotted, the nice tactical trick, and well done to all of you who saw this. Lots of you, actually. Peter, can you show it to us?
Yeah, queen d1 check, king h2, queen d6 check. Again, the same motive. Before it was the bishop which was pinning the white rook, using the fact that this king is checked and the knight is getting lost. And because of this, actually, white is in a little bit of trouble that he's lacking good moves. And Jan opted for c3, trying to control some dark squares. Yeah, he feels like the bishop might return any moment to the long diagonal, so he wants to be ready, covering the d4 square. Rook d2, queen d2 on the board.
All right, so rook d2, queen d2 played, and now the ball is back in Magnus's board. How does he want to? I really like the move c3 because it cuts off this long diagonal. So a move like queen e5 or bishop g7 would not have as much teeth with this pawn structure of b2, c3, and white's knight still puts pressure on c5. Always has to watch out for knight a5 as well, which would hit the c6 pawn. For example, Peter, if the major pieces in this position are traded off, the queen and the rook, then I think white's knight will dominate black's bishop.
Yeah, well, especially if he can immediately move the knight to a5, targeting the pawn, yeah? Of course, if black's king reaches the center, then I feel like black should be fine. But now it gets very, very sharp because black actually is clearly superior in the center. I mean, these forces are way too superior, and Jan has to create counterplay. He has to try to use the weakness on c6. He wants to also invade with queen d7, but he has to be careful. Black might get really very strong counterplay with a very timely e4, e3. Rook e6, very nice move protecting the pawn. That's why also the move queen e5 was very important. I just want to go back 2 moves. Like in this moment, the big question was, how does Magnus react to a threat of queen d7? And forcing the trade of queens would be very, very good news for white. And Magnus finds this very nice move, queen e5, and after knight a5, protecting the pawn with rook e6. And there is no way of challenging this queen on e5. It's a very nice play by Magnus.
And Peter, if instead of knight a5, white had continued with the idea of queen d7, hitting that pawn on c6, then was Magnus intending to blow up the position with e3?
Yes, I think so, yeah, because suddenly white's king gets really, really vulnerable, and f takes e3, queen e3 check, king h1 also looks very, very scary with this bishop eventually joining the battle, and it can really end badly.
Very interesting. So queen e5 at the precise moment, making sure that white's queen doesn't jump into activity. E3 is an idea now that Jan has to keep in mind. Knight a5, tying down that rook to e6. Peter, black's pieces look absolutely beautifully placed, right? All centralized, this pawn chain, e4, f5, g6, h7, giving black a lot of space. But what is the way forward? Does he want to continue the pawn storm with f4 next?
Yes, I think that black has many, many very nice possibilities. I mean, f5, f4, one of them. And the big question is, in fact, how does white tries to repel this? Because, I mean, few moves and black can be simply winning in this position. Yeah, so very, very tricky spot for Jan. I feel like he misjudged this bishop takes c4, d4 structure, thinking like Magnus didn't grab this chance at the very first opportunity, so Magnus does not want to take on c4, and he kind of believed him, yeah? Once he got the chance of stabilizing his knights, he should have already never given Magnus this chance of getting this structure.
So rook e6 on the board. Peter, let's take a look at some lines that can happen and analyze the different ways in which these dangers can actually become a reality that we've been talking about. So let's say white makes the move queen d8, trying to pin that bishop to f8. It's a move that comes to mind. And now we've been discussing just how dangerous the idea of e3 can be. Should we have a look at that?
Yeah, well, e3 and also f4, I also still don't... I'm not exactly sure what happens after f4, because after f4, e3, black will get an incredible pass pawn, yeah, after the trade on e3, and with all the pieces far away from action with queen d8 and knight a5, this looks very scary.
Yeah, actually, queen d8 doesn't even create a threat. So maybe a better square is d7. At least I'm hitting the c6 pawn, and knight c6 is my idea. So you don't have time to go perhaps f4 in this line because knight c6 hits the queen.
Yeah, but now, for example, we definitely... okay, no, this is probably not possible. I just wanted to highlight this, that maybe a move bishop d6, threatening queen h2 check. But actually, queen h2 check probably can be ignored, and I can just take on c6, because check king f1, and all of a sudden, black's pieces are hanging. So black by no means can allow the queen to be kicked away from e5. That's the stabilizing queen. So after queen d7, black probably has to play the move e3.
I think e3 is so tempting, Peter. We have to take a look at this line. And f takes e3 should be played, because I definitely don't want to allow black to take on f2 or play e2. Both will have disastrous results. And let's say queen takes e3, king h1.
And now you can play bishop. Yes, you can play bishop d6. Very, very important move.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Peter, this tactical motive has been there throughout the game.
Yes. Yes, it's all about the dark squares. White's king is in trouble. White cannot take on d6 because of check again, and the rook is lost. And otherwise, already the move queen e1 checkmate is threatened. Yeah,
queen e1 is mate on the board. Actually, this is probably already lost for white then.
Yes, it really feels like this is lost. So it just shows that how tricky the situation is. The big question is, how can white try to stop both? I mean, because e3 at the moment is not a danger, because endgame is kind of fine. So I was thinking that, can I play the ugly looking move g3, like just to stop f4 and try to set up some blockade? But of course, now I can never leave the queen. I always have to stay here, because if I leave, e3 will be decisive, and Jan goes for g3.
But I mean, it's very efficient in stopping this idea of f4, which if it appears on the board, it's probably just already busted for white. So he needed to do the only thing that he could have done against it. Peter, g3, now f4 doesn't work. You just go queen takes f4 and everything's under control. Also, e3 doesn't have the same kind of poison in it, because the queens get traded. So that's not something he wants. So once again, a big question, how can black improve this already stunning looking position? Peter, is the move rook d6 something on at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the forced lines is starting with rook d6. Okay, white sidesteps with queen e2,
and I'm always eyeing the idea of trade and e3.
Yeah, exactly. And this g3 pawn is kind of a weakness.
But maybe knight c6, yeah?
Knight c6. Can we play knight c6? Yes.
Knight c6, e2.
Yeah, e2 and then queen e1.
Queen d6, yeah?
Yeah, and this should be lost.
Queen d6 and queen d1 coming in.
Yeah, no, this one doesn't feel right. After e3, basically I have to block. I felt like I have to play the move queen e2. I think it's kind of obligatory. Then probably you take on f2, and I might have the chance to take with the king and win some tempo, yeah, because I'm hitting the queen.
And it's maybe very important to take with the king, because if you go queen f2, that gives black the option to go queen e4. And not only does it defend the c6 pawn, but sometimes it's eyeing these checks on b1. So it really kind of makes the white queen stuck to defend the king.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but so I have to make sure that after e3 I have the move queen e2. I think this is very, very important. The big question is, yeah, this knight. Of course, if it will come into play with tempo by hitting on c6 and it works out, it's fantastic. But if not, then actually white can end up losing the game due to this misplaced knight on a5.
Very interesting. Let me ask chat what they think about the position, and what are the suggestions, Peter, that they have for black in this. How can black actually continue? We're looking at this line with rook d6, but your idea in the end of capturing that f2 pawn with the king seems to be something that white can be happy with in that line. It just looks like black should have something here. What is it after g3? Peter, I'm seeing two suggestions in our chat, g5 and h5. Wow, we've got an aggressive chat.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, okay, I was hoping that actually
g5. What is g5 with queen g5?
Yeah, queen g5. Okay, definitely the idea is to go rook g6 and then try to go f5, f4. But somehow I can't really believe that Magnus would really consider this seriously, because he has a nice position. it doesn't look so decisive. Maybe it's strong, but it's a little bit crazy. Okay, but maybe it works.
Sounds too much.
Yeah,
but even if it works, Peter, it's very, to go g5 and allow queen g5 with a check, it just feels very unnatural to make this move. And I like the other suggestion given by chat, which is to play h5, because it also comes with the threat of h4.
Yes, h5, h4. Usually after h5, white would automatically play the move h4, fixing this. And then already the big question that maybe this, if black is not using immediately, then actually white will be the one who benefits from this h4. I mean, this g5 move is quite incredible, because it looks that it shouldn't be good, but if it's working, then it can be brutally strong.
All right, let's take a look at this line g5. So queen g5 is what we have to check, picks up the pawn, and now rook g6 at tempo. Really quite a stunning line, taking advantage of a white's king and queen lined up on the g file, and you want to go f4 next. So how can white fight that? Peter, what's your idea? So queen h5, you mentioned e3. That's the other break that white needs to watch out for all the time.
Yes, that's why also very important to note that after a move like knight takes c6, black has probably queen c7 or queen e6. I mean, somehow sidestepping the situation, but Magnus goes for rook d6. He goes for...
And we were looking at this. We were looking at this line, Peter. Let's just show that one more time where we felt white was doing fine. Queen e2. And now if you trade rooks, it's so tempting to go for this. But the final resource that you showed, it felt like white would end up solving all problems.
Yeah, queen e2 looked like, it's on the board.
On the board, Peter, on the board.
It's on the board. And now queen e2 seems to me like it should kind of hold the balance. Of course, because of this knight on a5, you will have the chance of going queen c7. Yeah, for example, after queen e2, there is a chance to go queen c7 when I have to retreat with the knight to b3. Maybe can I actually play queen takes e3 and try for perpetual check? No, probably not. No, I have to retreat with the knight. And okay, take it from there. Yeah, takes, bishop d6, and then something like queen e3. It looks like it should be perfectly fine for white. I don't know what Magnus has in mind, to be honest.
So e3, queen e2. Let's just put that. Queen e2 feels like the most natural move to stop the idea of e2. E takes f2. You very nicely pointed out that white can capture with the king. So you get the king towards the center. You keep things under control. A very important move, really, I think, which would solve all problems. Peter, instead of taking on f2, can black actually use this moment to make a move like bishop h6, defending that e3 pawn, keeping all the threats alive? You can't take fe3 because g3 is hanging as well.
Yeah, but I anyway don't want to touch there anything. After bishop h6, I feel like there should be something.
Let's take a look at knight c6 first, Peter, and try and refute that. Initially, I thought that knight c6 might run into something like queen d6, queen d2.
Well, queen e2 now on the board, and I'm very curious to see how Magnus will react to this.
So e takes f2, king f2. We are pretty sure that white's doing fine. Peter, can we take a look at this line with bishop h6, knight c6? That's got me a little excited. So queen d6 here.
Yeah, well, it's exciting for black. It's not very exciting for defending from the white side. Yeah, you are hitting the knight, and also queen d2, as you mentioned, you are coming. Very scary, if not just lost.
Queen d2 as well as maybe queen d6, queen e4, both such tempting options. Peter, bishop h6 on the board.
Yeah, bishop h6 had to be played. It's the only justification. Otherwise, I mean, Magnus felt like he feels that he has the initiative. So he wanted to play e3 with a clear vision, and that was clearly bishop h6.
Wow. All right. So the point is that ef2 would not have gotten black anything. Bishop h6 played, keeping the tension alive. Knight c6 is not possible. Peter, what is the other move that's coming to your mind for white? Our Evalbar is not pessimistic about white's position.
Well, actually, there is a move like king g2, small little move, just sidestepping this ef2 checks and trying also to protect the g3 pawn, maybe eventually going f3, locking down the position.
And you don't care about queen e4.
Well, queen e4, f3, it was kind of scary, but the two moves that I had in mind was king g2 or knight b3. Yeah, it was one of them. Jan opted for knight b3, also very logical, bringing back this knight.
Knight b3. All right. So at least while it ties down the queen to e5, because the c5 knight is under attack and bringing the knight back, although I don't know where the knight is headed. But with this move, moves like queen e4 are not possible because now white can snap up the pawn on c5. So
Yes,
it does
exactly.
make a lot of sense. Peter, what about the other idea that we were looking at with queen to d6? Because you still can't take f takes e3 because the g3 pawn is hanging. After
Yeah, but
queen
now
d6,
the knight protects the d2 square. Yeah, that's also very, very important.
important and annoying for black. But so queen d6, perhaps you can just make a simple move like king g2.
Yes, definitely. And Magnus goes f5, f4. Yeah, there is no clear way. He wants to open up white's king side. Very logical. I mean, very, very logical play by Magnus.
Things are really getting crazy in this one. So f4 on the board.
Yeah, one of the ideas that it doesn't seem like black will have a mating attack. There is no mating attack, but just for example, to illustrate that what Magnus wants to achieve, like gf, bishop f4, and then suddenly black's pieces will be so powerful that and also the knight from b3. Yeah, for example, if Magnus can force a trade on e3, then look at this bishop on e3 dominating the knight on b3. Yeah, that's the dream scenario Magnus has in front of his eyes.
Peter, I think there's another amazing trick. He takes g takes f4, but I was just wondering if after king g2, black could have gone f3. Can we just quickly show that position, because it's just so if it works, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, f4 f3 check. So queen f3 e2 and
king f3 queen h5 check.
Yes, forcing
Amazing
g4
stuff.
and then queen h3, and okay, this looks very, very bad. Yeah. But yeah, okay, so we are actually getting to this position. Yeah, I had this in my calculation because it looked like, you know, the most natural, like takes, king g2. I don't see any mate, but this bishop dominates the knight. And
there is knight a5, right? Always to try and hit that pawn on c6. Knight a5, queen f3. Queen f3 looks like a move that I want to make with white here.
Yeah, to get some stability. Yeah, with queen f3, knight goes back to a5. Of course, very scary because this king is completely open. But if there is no mating attack, then actually white can somehow build up. Yeah, queen f3 on the board can build up some defense.
Just keeping the queen close to the king and also hitting that c6 pawn. I have a feeling that the worst is definitely over for white. You know, with that scary e3, f4, Magnus going for this absolute direct line, it looked quite terrifying, but I feel now, Peter, white has things under control.
Well, I mean, in control, yeah, if we were really pessimistic before, then situation improved. But if we felt like everything was under control, then I do feel like with this bishop on e3, controlling the knight and with this open king, I mean, there are still some dangers here for white. I mean, it would still be, I mean, I would love to be black here, but maybe white is folding.
Let's get a chat prediction going on at this moment. So lots of the dust has sort of settled. The storm is calm currently. Peter says he would prefer to be black here, given the white's king position. Chad, if you had to make a prediction of how this game will end, given the current scenario, what would it be? Will Magnus manage to convert this, or will Jan have enough chances to find a bailout, or maybe even create more? Well, don't forget, if the queen and the knight get harmony and become active, white could be the one pushing. But I have to say that's hard to imagine given white's king position.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but look at this also. Bishop g5, bishop h4. Yeah, Jan takes on c6. Magnus goes queen g5 check. That was the idea of bringing the bishop to h4.
But what's the idea? King h2?
Yeah, where do you go? Then some queen d2 check.
Queen d2, queen g2.
Queen g2.
Happy to draw, Peter.
Yeah, draw is good. I mean, definitely as a white player here, you are very, very happy if this game ends in a draw.
I mean, the point is that if you fall back to the first rank, king h1, king f1, it runs into the idea that you wanted to show queen c1 check and picking the b2 pawn with the check.
Exactly. Yeah, this is what I wanted to highlight. Yeah, that this case
I won't let it happen. Going to go king h2.
Yeah, he needs to go king h2 and after queen d2, queen g2. Yeah, this is queen d6 check, king h1, and now we see that this queen is quite multi-purpose, protecting the knight, guarding the king h2 on the board. And look at this, the evaluation bar says, oh no, this is terrible.
Oh wow, I was really proud of the move king h2.
Yeah, you sounded so convincing. Yeah, that it
You
made
got
perfect
convinced,
sense.
Peter. You got convinced.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it made perfect sense. But now that we know that it's dangerous, now I feel the danger. Some queen f4
queen
check.
f4 and maybe bishop g3. Yeah.
Yeah, bishop g3 also, bishop g5, and then bishop g3 also, bishop g5, and then bishop f4 check. I mean, oh my God, this can be very, very terrifying. And if it's terrifying, it might be lost.
A new result prediction. By the way, before we could, the chat already pointed out that king h2 would have been a blunder. So thanks for that, chat. And draw 63%. I'm not sure if that would happen anymore. Magnus at 29%. I think that's all changed now. Queen g2 played. And Peter, you're looking at these ideas. If black gives a check on f4, king h1, bishop g3, queen e2.
Yeah, luckily I have this move queen e2. I'm fighting for my life. And I feel like with queen e2, I'm actually succeeding. So maybe this queen f4, bishop g3 is not the best way to, but I mean, of course, Magnus is capable of finding all these incredible geometries and all these checks, but I always feel like this is one of the toughest, with little time on the clock. Of course, if you have half an hour, it's quite easy to sort things out, but nothing is exactly logical. It's no clear vision that what you want to achieve. Magnus goes queen f4 check.
And Twitch chat as well saying 73% for a draw. So chat is favoring a draw in this game. Well, we see that something is very wrong with white's position. Bishop g3, the line queen e2 feels absolutely fine. So Peter, what are we missing here?
Well, also the players are not sure. Look at this, queen c1 check, king h2. I would not be surprised but okay, Magnus is maybe also just trying to cash in on the extra 10 seconds, and for 2 moves he got 20. But I mean, if there is a very clear follow-up, everything is clear. But if there is no follow-up, then just some mysterious move with 1 minute on the clock, it's kind of very difficult to find.
So big question in this game is Magnus going to draw, or will he try for more? And he makes the most unexpected move. He plays a6. Peter, this is a bit too much to understand when all the action is on the king side. Queen e2 was exactly the move that Nepo needed to, get things under control. As you say, get harmony in the position. And now with this queen on e2 threatening queen e5, things look like it can't be that bad for white.
Yeah, but maybe you can just move the king to... No, now Magnus goes queen c1 check. I felt like maybe just king h6 and then... but then knight e5. Okay, let's just show this. This is very important that actually after queen e2, white is threatening to bring back his knight. Yeah, and black needs to pay attention to this. Queen c1 check. I mean, king g2, queen g5 check, king h1 looks very, very natural.
Wow, just incredible stuff. So queen c1, and it looks like Magnus will have to repeat here with the knight coming into the game from e5 or a queen e5 check threatened. Hard to find a way forward. Peter, we did notice that moment, and maybe we'll take a look at it once the game is finished, what it is that Magnus could have done to keep his chances alive. And we're heading for a repetition. So we've got a lot of punditry going on by chat. Well predicted on Twitch and on YouTube that this is in fact going to end in a draw.
Yeah, the chat is really impressive, and yeah, the game ended in a draw with 3-4 repetition. Because if you would have asked me, I would say no. I really feel that something is in the air, but yeah, finally it was a draw.
All right, so with this, game one ends peacefully, but again, quite an up and down game. Started off with the Rossalimo. We saw this interesting pawn structure, quite a battle. Peter, do you want to just quickly take a look at that moment that we had a few moves ago? Meanwhile, this is what our table is now. The players have got 3 more rapid games coming up, and if this final set ends in a tie, we will move on to play 2 blitz games. So Peter, this was the moment where our eval bar implied that Magnus had a chance to seize the initiative.
Yes, exactly. This was the moment, and I mean, we already talked about it, that bishop g3 looked very natural, but then also we have the move queen e2. So I may be actually seeing that, I mean, knowing that this queen e2 is the move. Could black maybe, I mean, this is my guess, that could black just make a move like queen e3, you know, threatening absolutely nothing at the moment, just in order to stop the move queen e2, and then I will start activating the bishop, because suddenly the queen doesn't have any good square. I mean, queen e3 really scares me now.
All right, so let's take a look. So queen e3, and what is, so immediately you don't have a threat, but bishop g3 is your idea next.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I want to get this bishop on the diagonal. Yes, and we are getting the confirmation from Tadeusz that, yeah, queen e3 is very strong. Yeah, it's, you know, once you spot that queen e2 is the problem, yeah, everything else does not matter, then you can find, and especially if somebody tells you, like the engine bar, that there is something in the position, then you can finally just exclude all the other moves. During the game, it doesn't work like this. Yeah, you are trying to find forced lines, and there are millions of lines to calculate, and then you can easily miss a quiet move like this.
And this is the moment he did make a quiet move, but on the wrong side of the board when he played a6. And of course, the big difference, as you're pointing out, is that the e2 square is key for white's queen to get activity. That's where the white queen can then jump on to give checks to the king. So the move queen e3, once that's spotted, Peter, makes so much more sense, and is so much easier to understand for all of us, that this just takes away this very important key square. And white doesn't have the time to go to d5 because the h3 pawn is hanging as well.
Yeah, and also the knight has no way of coming back, because the reason why actually Magnus was forced to give a perpetual check, that after a6 queen e2, white is already threatening to bring the knight back, after which he will be the one playing for the win, his pawn up, and if he stabilizes. So yeah, queen e3, a very, very devilish quiet move. I mean, those are the moves that are very, very difficult to spot with 1.5 minutes on the clock.
All right, well, we've got some time before game 2. We've got some time before game 2. And Peter, I want to ask you, have you heard of Chessle?
No, not at all. What is Chessle?
Not at all?
No.
Okay, what about chat? Let's ask chat. Chat, do you know what Chessle is? Peter, have you heard of Wordle?
Also, no, I mean, if you ask me, you know, I have heard about Scrabble, but I never played it. So I'm very, very bad with all these things.
Okay, similar stuff. All right. So Chessle is, we're going to try out Chessle today with Peter. Chat, I've just decided we have to try out Chessle today with Peter. He's never heard of it.
I'm scared already. You know, I'm scared already. Oh my God.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And I'm also very happy to announce that Chessable has actually partnered up with Chessle. It's a game that I've been playing almost every day for the last couple of weeks. Let's see, chat, have you heard of Chessle? Oh, wow. A lot of our chat hasn't. Let's bring it up. I'm going to share my screen. So Peter, first the rules. Let me first bring up my screen. Oh God, this is a bit complicated, but I shall get that, chat.
Yeah, I mean, you will bring, but I will not be able to see it. That's the kind of problem. Yeah?
Can you see that I've shared the screen, Peter? Do you see my screen?
Yes, I see it, but it's a very, very small window on my screen.
It's a small window. So maybe, all right, we're going to set this up, chat. We're going to go on a 1-minute break while we set this up with Peter, and we challenge him to today's Chessle. So be right back.
first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Airthings.
I'm ahead of the game.
Well, the phone is always ringing, I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger, remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker, but follow me, I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging, I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy, logically, I'm impossibly wanted, and they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game.
Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game and get paired with players from around the world fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh,
Welcome back, chat. How is everyone doing? So we're going to do something fun, but before that, just in time to join in for the party and the fun, we've got Grandmaster Surya Shekhar Ganguly with us. Welcome, Surya.
Hi, Tania. Hi, Peter.
How are you doing today?
Awesome.
Now, Surya, you have come just in time for a surprise that I had for Peter. And, a chat, while we were trying to fix the screen, Peter wanted to take a little break and he said he'll be right back. And we told him, sure, Peter, you can run, but you can't hide because we're going to make him go through this anyway. So, Peter, are you ready for some Chessle fun?
Yes, I'm ready, and I feel that thanks to Surya, welcome Surya, I have some support if I need it, yeah.
But Peter, please tell me that you have solved one Chessle, or this is your
No,
first
I
time.
did not know that this exists. Maybe I will become a big fan now. I'm very excited.
Okay. So first, let me just introduce the chat and Peter to you the game. Surya solved quite a few of them, so he knows what this is about. You've got 5 turns to guess the opening that Chessle wants you to guess. And you have to put in the moves. For example, let's start with something. Suggest a move, the first 5 moves, and it will tell you how many of them are right and in which number, what move number is it right as well. So you have to try to guess. And I think, Surya, for Peter, I think we have to set the bar to 3 tries.
Yeah. So,
I'm already terrified. I mean, okay, don't do this to me. Yeah, I need some water. Okay, sorry.
So Peter,
okay, what?
initially,
Can I play
some
the
5
move
moves.
E4 or it's forbidden or how is it?
You can play
No,
any
just
move.
suggest some 5 normal moves.
Yeah.
Just 5 normal moves.
But it's going to be an opening. It is a valid opening that Chessle wants you to guess. So first, let's just start with the 5 moves that you suggest.
Okay, so E4 I'm suggesting.
E4.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, okay, E5.
All right.
Hopefully that's what Chessle wants me to play. Okay. Okay, then King's Gambit. People are always asking for King's Gambit. I'm gonna go F4 then.
All right, Peter playing to the spectators. All right, so F4
Next.
and then
E takes F4. Knight F3. So hang on now, but I should not show my best preparation here, right? I mean, okay, G5. Let's go G5 then. Let's go G5.
Peter thinking about preparation here. World Championship match prep.
I mean, G5
Only
is a very
person in the
good
world
move.
who can think like this.
Yeah, D4, D6, and Bishop C4, Bishop G7. Am I disqualified or I'm still in the game?
No,
You're still in the
now we submit. Now we submit.
Now we submit, right? Oh, wow. Peter, you did horrible. because this is the situation now. Out of all these moves, the only correct move that is in this sequence of 5 moves is the move knight f3, but it's not on the right spot. It's not on move number 3.
Yes.
So the good news is you haven't given out any great preparation. The bad news is that you're doing pretty bad at Chessle right now.
Yeah, okay, so I will start playing the Reti then with first move knight f3, just trying to be more solid, yeah, this time.
Yeah, but it also says that you in this 5 moves, white did not play e4, d4. Black did not play, moves like d6, bishop g7. So
exactly,
likely white must have played c4 or g3 at some point.
Yeah. So after knight f3, okay, now with black I have to play something like, okay, c5. I haven't done it before.
Yes, that's a good choice because it wasn't played in our first submit.
Yes, so now I'm gonna play g3. I will be very, very positional. Knight c6. c4. Get the center. Yeah, then okay, knight f6 development. We need to develop the knights. Knight c3, I can still play. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go knight c3.
Nice.
And okay, I go g6, symmetrical stuff.
And you go g6, yeah?
G6,
Yes.
G6.
Yeah, but I know that I can't play bishop g7, so I can play bishop g2. So I go bishop g2, and now with black I go d5.
Okay, so chat, these are the 5 submissions. Let's see how
Let's
many
see.
of. Wow, Surya, this one went well.
Yeah. You see, I'm improving.
So basically, we can deduce the first move is c4, right? More or less.
c4 is the first move.
I mean, if it is not knight f3 move 1,
Yes.
it's unlikely it will be g3 or knight c3. Knight c3, it's not legally possible, so it has to be g3 or c4.
Yes.
My-
But I mean,
my-
why is c5 green?
Because
that's the
means
right
c5 is
spot.
exactly
So-
right spot.
Ah,
The
okay.
first
So
move
at
is
least
c5.
finally one move is at the right spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this,
All right,
this is
so-
actually a lot of fun. It's
It's a lot of fun. I love this. And I'm doing this every day. And Peter, you only get 1 a day and then it resets. So at 12 o'clock, it resets.
Yeah, okay,
So
and
you play
basically then
c4,
nobody's really handicapped. Yeah, I mean, I have basically no advantage by being a good chess player. Anybody has the same chance against me.
Exactly. But Peter, we've got about 3 minutes to the Jan Magnus thing. So I know we're having a lot of fun doing this, but let's speed up. So what's the first move here?
I thought that, okay, let's call it a draw and let's get back to Magnus. Yeah.
No. We're not going to let you off the hook so
Let's give
easily.
it a try. Let's go c4, c5, Peter.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's go
So
So
c4,
Surya,
c5.
c4, c5 on the board.
Let's do knight f3, knight f6.
Knight f3, knight f6.
Now knight c3, knight c6. I think I'm still doing fine.
Okay.
Knight
And
c3.
Peter, what about you? What would be the 4th move that you want to suggest here?
Well, okay,
It has-
g3 definitely.
G3.
Yeah.
G3 should be it. Okay.
And then we
And-
go d5 here. Yeah, with black.
Yes. But the only
D5.
problem is here we are struggling when to put bishop g2.
No, but bishop g2 is not the right move, no?
Yeah, so we cannot put bishop g2. So which means,
Yeah, but why can't we take just cd5?
yeah, cd5, knight d5.
Yeah, and then we have it. No,
And that's
I think
it.
we are cool.
You think this is it? You think this is it? You think you guys got
Let's
this
see.
one?
Yes,
Let's see.
yes.
Oh my God. All right, chat. This is the moment of truth. I'll have to scroll down a bit. I hope it's fine
Yes, it's
with the
there.
screen.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
we're okay. So you did it, Peter.
Yes,
you did
that's
it.
it.
You did
But you see, thanks to Surya. Surya is the expert. Okay, thank you very much.
Surya, you saved Peter. But that was amazing. It was your first try, and we had put the bar for Peter at 3, Surya, and he managed to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
it.
I mean, okay, no, I mean,
And with
without
King's
Surya, I
Gambit.
would
Let's
have
not
not
forget
got
with
it there.
King's Gambit.
Yes.
This was so much fun. Now I'm almost sad that the tournament's finishing today because we don't get to do this tomorrow, Peter.
Yeah, well, but now I can practice at home. Yeah, till the next broadcast.
Absolutely. So this was the English opening, the 4 nights variation. So we got some information. And of course, we've got a new opening quiz every day on Chessle. And if you like the opening you see and want to learn more about it, go on to Chessable and there would be a course that you can check out on it. All right. So, Surya, now let's come back to the action that we've got ongoing. Firstly, what are your thoughts on the finals that we've witnessed so far? 4 amazing games yesterday.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Yes. So, Surya, I was saying that we've had quite a fighting final. Your thoughts on the action we've seen so far?
Yeah, no, it has been, every game has been so exciting, and I'm looking forward for a really dramatic finish. And yeah, literally all the games, there was so much of ups and downs, the dynamism. And I'm pretty sure we are going to see a lot of fireworks in next remaining games.
And Peter, Magnus is already on his chair. Well, for a change, we see Jan's the one missing. He will be joining, and then we're going to have liftoff for game 2. The first one ended in a draw. Surya, you're joining us for the action today. Thank you so much for that. And I'm going to ask you to I keep asking Peter, and you know how Peter is with predictions, always going for the most diplomatic answer. What is your take on the opening that we're going to see right now? Is Magnus going to go for the English that we've been seeing him, or will we see a repeat of the World Championship stuff with maybe the Catalan?
I go for Catalan.
Peter, what about you?
Well, I have no idea. It's kind of interesting that Magnus. Let's try to do this like Chessle, yeah. That Magnus was playing the Rossolimo in the very first game yesterday. Then he switched to e4, e5, and then today he switched back to Rossolimo but deviated with third move g6. It kind of indicates to me that Magnus probably wants to play something else than yesterday. Yeah, he does not want to repeat anything that he did. In this regard, for example, Catalan is possible, but he might be also in for 1 e4. Yeah, just to see how Jan wants to approach the game after e4. It could also be an idea.
I'm going with 1 c4. And it's 1 e4. You just mentioned it.
Yeah. And bishop c4, avoiding Petrov.
Yeah, avoiding Petrov, yeah. Well, I mean, okay, it's kind of this bishop c4, knight f6, this c6 is kind of anti-Petrov variation, yeah? Then we don't get to the Italian.
Yes. What it is called? Bishop opening, yeah? That's all.
Yeah, bishop opening. Because if black goes for the move knight c6, then we might most likely transpose to some Italian, but black usually has this option of the Petrov players usually play c6.
Yes.
Peter, maybe, a lot of us might not be familiar with why bishop c4. Can you just point out what you and Surya are saying, that how this avoids the Petrov?
Yeah, because after second move, knight f3, the line that Jan surprised Magnus in the World Championship match was with knight f6 using the Petrov, and the idea of, now here black immediately puts pressure on the e4 pawn, so white does not have the chance to develop the bishop. So white chooses between knight takes e5 or third move d4. But now in this game, we are seeing completely different dynamics, because after bishop c4, knight f6, white plays d3. That's the so-called advantage of developing the bishop first. But this, of course, brings completely new dynamics. Black goes bishop c5. As I mentioned, there is this very, very thematic c6 reaction. There is also the thematic knight c6 reaction and bishop c5. All these three moves are very, very natural. Knight f3, d6, knight c3, knight c6, knight a4. Magnus is playing a line which usually I think Jan is sometimes playing from the white side. So it's interesting psychological test.
Magnus had a game in white, yeah? He played, with whom he played? White 2022, he had one game playing knight c3, knight f4.
He played in Vaikanzi. I missed that game. Yeah, I might have missed that.
I'm absolutely sure he played.
Yeah, takes a4. It's a very logical way of grabbing the bishop and trying to secure white's bishop. Yeah, that's the idea of a4. Black goes bishop d7. Usually, black's main idea is also transferring the knight to g6. The move bishop d7 slightly surprises me. What is your take, Surya, on this bishop d7?
Yeah, looks like Jan is prepared. I was just trying to find the game what Magnus played in White. Maybe chat can let us know. Or I would imagine he wants to get knight e7 quickly. This knight on c6 is not doing much, I believe. So that could be the point of bishop d7. And what is bishop d2?
Yeah, well, also bishop d7 kind of targets the a4 pawn. Yeah, that's probably the reason that Magnus wanted to go bishop d2, because if, for example, white plays something like castles and after knight e7 he protects, let's just make a terrible move b3, it loses a piece to b5 very, very nicely.
True. And I got the game. It was actually Magnus versus Vidit from Vaikanzi, where he played with knight c3. And Vidit played h6 in the game.
After knight a4?
No, after knight c3.
After knight c3, yes.
Yeah. But this was slightly different because Vidit had the pawn on d7 still. But in this move order, black had already played d6 before.
Yes. Yeah, and now we see exactly that Magnus played the move bishop d2 in order not to run into any of these b6, b5 tricks. Now white is harmonious. He protects the rook on a1. So nothing to worry about in this regard. But black just gets this very, very typical setup, like put the knight on g6, put the pawn on h6, go rook e8. You might even go c5, bishop c6 or bishop e6, and then try to go d5. I mean, black has a very, very solid position. Yes, white has the two bishops, but usually also in the anti-Berlins, black is kind of solid enough in these structures.
Also, am I not threatening some kind of c6? I might, yeah, with the idea of d5, b5, depending.
Well, actually, after b3, there are completely new dynamics in the position. Yeah, but Jan goes for the c5 plan. C6 was probably after c6, Magnus would have played b4. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, with rook on e1, you are ready. Yeah, because d5 you can simply move without taking.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, before d5, bishop b3. That's what I was kind of expecting. Yeah, with the rook on e1. But Jan immediately blitzes out the move c5. A slightly committing move. I mean, I'm not exactly a fan of, blitzing out the move like c5. Because how can you judge in like 2-3 seconds that, for example, the move bishop g5 is absolutely nothing? Maybe it's absolutely nothing, but still it's kind of gives white the chance to change the character of the game, like takes, and then white starts with knight d2, knight f1, knight e3, and we see that there is a hole. Of course, black will get very powerful compensation for it on the king side with activity, but still, it feels to me like, okay, you shouldn't be rushing playing a move like c5. You have to spend a little bit more time.
One of the ideas that come to mind after a move like c5, because like you mentioned, it's kind of hard to explain because it creates all these light squared weakness. Does eventually Jan, if you don't go for bishop g5, bishop f6, which has its own weaknesses on f4 that you were pointing out, does Jan want to go bishop c6 and d5 next? And I see actually bishop c6 on the board. So Peter, that explains the whole plan and the motive behind the move c5, that now it's going to be tough for white to fight against the move d5 with this structure that he's taken with a4, b3, c2, d3, e4.
Yeah, he's not able to avoid it. He definitely also needs the move h6. I mean, one really gets the feeling that h6 is useful. I would be interested Surya, what are your thoughts here? Because I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a common structure that you see every day, right? And I'm also not sure. I'm not 100% sure that black wants to play d5 immediately because it also kind of weakens the e5 pawn. And I was wondering if it's also a bit committal. Do I want to play g3, restricting this knight? And then make sure, black b4. That's really committal.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the a4 pawn? First question.
But yeah, if it works, why not?
Yeah, first of all, he wants to secure his bishop. Yeah, that's the idea.
Let's just show the line what happens if black takes. Is it to trap that bishop on a4 with b5 and now suddenly there's no way to go back? Queen d7, you could hit that pawn, but then queen b1 comes in and eventually this bishop on a4 will get in a lot of trouble.
Exactly.
But there's knight e8, knight c6.
I was actually I'm about to ask Tania, like, how exactly are we hitting this bishop after knight e8?
That's a great question. So
Okay,
knight
queen
e8.
b2.
Bishop b3.
No, bishop b3 on the spot because queen b5, there's bishop a4.
Ah, okay, yeah, but also just queen b2, I wanted to illustrate that we also have this setup, yeah, kind of still defending.
Yeah.
And
The
then
main point is
and then
that
going for rook a3 and doubling, but bishop b3 was possible, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the plan that you showed, it just demonstrates that why black can't capture an a4. And it's the same thing if you go rook takes a4 and trade off the rooks, after which anyways white will make the move b5 and that bishop will be trapped. So b4 on the board, gangs, and if a4 can't be picked up.
This is not the same, no? Now if I play knight e8, you have to play queen b2, knight c7, rook b1. Now, in order to take this bishop, you need your knight on c3. I don't see any other way you can get to this bishop.
But it's kind of scary to be stuck with this bishop, yeah?
I totally agree with that. And the thing is, I was trying to go for the pawn on b5, but I cannot even bring my knight to a7, then you have rook a1. So it's like position where my bishop is eternally stuck.
Yeah, it's very, very scary. You really don't want to take this pawn.
But how, Peter, this final position, how do you actually evaluate this? I'm really curious, this rook into a4 line.
Yes, this one. Well,
Because
I mean, I spotted that I actually have a little stat like queen a2, bishop b5, rook b5, knight b5, queen a4. I can try to win 2 pieces for the rook. I mean, let's just show this, like if black makes a neutral move like h6, I have the chance to... actually, I can even win the piece like this. No need for fancy
But
stuff.
maybe after queen a2, there was rook a8, no?
Yes, but after queen a2, always you go rook a8. Yeah, that's why this whole queen maneuver with a2 is absolutely wrong. And look at this. Jan is taking his time. He might be, we know how curious Jan is, and he likes to, go for all this little bit shaky stuffs. If he feels that, this is a provocation and he might be able to take it, who knows? If someone, then Jan could.
So one thing is clear, that if he has to capture the a4 pawn, he needs to go rook takes a4. What do you think? And he decides not to. He plays another very direct move. The idea that we were looking at earlier, breaks in the center with d5. Both players just saying, come and take my pawn. I don't care what happens in this case. If white goes for the center pawn of e5, can you both break it down for us? After e takes d5, can white get greedy with the e5 pawn?
Well, to start with, I have to take with the bishop because knight d5 is b5. So e into d5, bishop into d5, and now you want to take on e5.
Because if bishop d5, then you take queen d5 and everything's fine.
Yes, I cannot approach the queen. So I have to start with knight into e5. What's the trick here? So we take.
And queen d4.
Queen d4 at the end. And that should do. Queen d4 actually should do.
At least it's a pretty move to make.
Yeah, suddenly the queen attacks all of white's pieces, yeah?
Yeah.
And e5, bishop d5 on the board.
All right, so I don't think we're going to see this knight e5 line because that move, the end of it with queen d4 just looked like black is doing absolutely fine. So if not knight takes e5, white can't really allow black to trade on c4 and take this pawn structure with d takes c4, no?
Yeah, actually in the previous move, I was wondering how horrible it is to play b5 instead of e into d5, getting similar structure.
Yeah, but now e5, bishop d5 on the board, and we also see that the engine bar says that white is better, and I'm also struggling to find a clear-cut move from white side, that how do we stabilize an advantage if we think that we have one, because I'm not sure that over the board I would be sure that I have an advantage here.
What happens if I include b into c5 at some point? Does it change anything? Probably not. You will still have queen d4 at the end.
Let's take a look at the line. So you start with b takes e5. Let's capture on c4. Destroy white's pawn structure. Knight takes e5. Now you're mentioning.
Bishop c3 is an option.
Bishop
also.
c3.
Yes, bishop c3 is a solid option, but I'm not entirely sure if it's enough for an advantage. It's a solid option, but nothing more than you can take on d1, yeah?
Yeah, I have to take with e rook.
Yes, and it doesn't look very bad for black. I mean, you have rook f8, you have all kinds of them.
You have knight e4 as well, jumping in, hitting that bishop.
Yeah, but there is still some pressure. Yeah, I can play a5 and rook a b1. For example, let's say rook f8. I go a5.
Very, very positional, yeah?
Yeah, like knight e4, I'm not bothered. Yeah, bishop e1, then this knight on e4 is kind of empty.
What about knight f4 here? Are you not? You're not bothered about one knight. Would you be bothered about two?
That's like at least to start with, I cannot play rook b1.
And let's show why, Peter.
Or knight c3 directly.
Knight c3 directly, stylish.
Yeah. So let's see what else.
Yeah, well, I'm also not sure. Yeah, that okay. How Magnus will approach? There is no clear-cut way. Yeah, it's in a rapid play. You really want to see a clear vision. I mean, clear way of. And he opts for bishop b5. Wow, a move that did not even cross my mind, I have to say.
And e4 immediately blitzed out.
Yeah, and we see from the evaluation bar that computer very much approved this bishop b5 move. Very, very strong move by Magnus, bishop b5.
Can I play c4 or not?
c4, knight takes d2.
I was wondering if I can take back with the knight, hoping the bishop g2 will not work. I'm really hoping bishop g2 does not work.
Yeah, because it's a question. Yeah.
Queen g5.
I don't know. If it works, then
this is very scary for white. No, for black. Even maybe just can we go rook d8 here?
But then knight e4.
Knight e4.
And then queen moves
queen
to
f3,
g4.
yeah, and queen g4.
But I was also worried about knight f4 check instead of queen g5.
Yeah, of course. No, there were many things, but I saw that Magnus already took on c5, so no reason to speculate here.
Wow, and Jan is having a think. To me, when I look at the position, I just feel he wants to take the bishop first. I was thinking, why not just take b takes c5? But he decides to take the bishop first and not giving white the opportunity to perhaps go bishop e3 if you capture on c5. But there's knight c3.
That and also there was c4, knight into d2, then c into d5.
Yes, exactly. When you first mentioned this c4 idea, I thought like that's what you wanted anyway. Yeah, like let's just show this bc, c4, knight d2, c takes d5, knight takes f3, queen f3, and now suddenly this bishop is incredibly strong, hitting the e8 square. And okay, you can put up blockade with queen d6. It might not be so bad, but at least it's frightening a bit.
That's actually a really nice, precise way to follow up. So you start with knight takes d2, having a think whether to recapture with the knight or the queen. Peter, to a lot of us, gangs, to a lot of us, it might seem you have to take with the knight, right? Because queen d2 allows bishop takes f3.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, knight d2 on the board. And now the big question is, yeah, because strategically, if white stabilizes, then, you know, after b takes c5, black has quite a compromised pawn structure. White has a lot of nice squares. It's more that Jan would like to use his momentum, his powerful pieces. Yeah, he would really love to create something on the g2 pawn. That's why he's not capturing yet on c5.
Can we take a look at, I mean, just for fun, I don't think it probably works, but let's see if bishop g2, he goes knight f4, so creating a threat of bishop g2.
Yeah, but I mean, I really feel that maybe white will need to, I mean, not need to, but has some ideas like with queen g4 to try to be active.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could play queen g4 immediately, but then after knight g2, this tempo is kind of annoying.
Yeah,
maybe
it's annoying.
Maybe rook e d1.
Rook e d1, yeah.
But queen f6. No, it gets out of control, yeah?
Yeah, it gets out of control, yeah. It gets out of control. So after knight f4, we cannot give the pawn on g2 just like this.
And f3 runs into queen g5, so f3 is impossible as well.
Yeah, we definitely could protect with bishop f1, but it would give give the momentum towards black. So it's not a move I'm really considering. So maybe move the knight, but also not so simple.
Okay, what about the move knight f3, trying to block off the bishop from capturing the g2 pawn?
Okay, I follow it up. Queen f6.
Yes.
And rook d8 as well coming in next, yeah? Knight h3.
Yeah, this is too much of activity.
Super scary stuff, yeah.
Yeah, knight h3 is a big threat after queen f6.
Yeah, wow,
okay, so what are the ways? I mean, black has a direct threat, right, of going knight takes g2 and queen g5. What are the other ways in which white can counter this? You were mentioning the move bishop f1. It's not a happy move, but if it does happen, how does black continue? Can we take a look at that line?
Yeah, then okay, you just take back.
What about even queen g5? Even queen g5 is an option, no?
And queen g4, you want to go knight h3?
Knight h3, but probably no. This maybe I'm pushing it too much.
Yeah, because you are a little bit loose, yeah, now with the pieces.
Well, I can tag on to e1 or a1 rook depending on how you attack, but maybe you will just take on b6.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that I'm very compact now from the white side, but I mean, after bishop f1, just you take back bc5, and I'm not really understanding why is white better. I'm very active, yeah.
Yeah.
This evaluation bar is driving us crazy. Yeah, if not for the evaluation bar, we would be saying that black definitely has counterplay here. Everything is fine.
And we're not being able to come up with a move that doesn't create problems on this spot. All right, so we've checked bishop f1. f3 is not possible because of queen g5. Knight f3 runs into queen f6. You can't take on b6. You can't just allow the move knight takes g2. Chat, maybe you can help us. What is the defense here that white has got against this threat? Why is the eval bar so optimistic about white's position here when it looks like it's falling apart?
Well, I mean, falling apart, maybe not, but I mean, certainly it looks like black has counterplayed. The move we did not discuss yet was knight e4. It's still also a very valid move. The big question is like after f5, can white go, for example, for this knight d6, giving up the g2 pawn or not? Feeling wise, I thought not. That's why I did not mention it.
Let's take a look. So knight e4, and we do have an update from Tad. Tad, our producer, is informing us that Peter, you're on point. Knight e4 is the defense for white, and after f5, you've got the move knight c3. So a nice retreat, forcing black to pick up the g2 pawn with the bishop, which would then mean a queen trade. Which
yeah,
white
but
would be happy
good luck finding it. I mean, I don't think it's possible humanly to find this. I mean, knight e4, f5, knight c3.
Yeah, what do you do for queen g5?
We do have an update that queen g5, you're never going to believe white's move, gang. It's the only move really, but g3, you just happily give up knight h3 and say that you're fine after king h2
f1
or f1. Okay.
Yeah, because bishop is hanging with check. Yeah, f5 was also weakening. Yeah, Magnus goes back bishop f1. After all, Magnus is a human. He's a very powerful human being, but still human, not a silicon monster.
Bishop f1 on the board, and there was a reason. Wow, b takes c5. Jan just continues the momentum of the speed of his play. We were also looking at moves like queen g5, but he simply grabs the c5 pawn. So now queen g5 is coming in. Does white have time to stop black from bringing the queen into the attack?
Well, queen g4 is what, knight into g2 already? Probably, yeah.
It's an option, yeah. It's also queen f6 was kind of tempting, but yeah, if I can take on g2.
So
and also let's point out, Peter, that after queen g4, you don't want to start with bishop takes g2 because white would go on to pick up the knight on f4, defending that knight on d2.
Yes, of course. And Magnus goes knight c4. Yeah, he wants stability. He wants to make sure that he always has knight e3 protecting the pawn on g2. After queen g5, he also has some rook e5 ideas, queen g4 ideas. So he's not bothered by
I have two questions. Why not knight into g2? Because bishop g2, bishop c4, and the endgame is fine, yeah?
Yeah, let's just show that. That's a very important point. He's played queen f6, but let's quickly show that little tactical idea, Peter, that instead if knight takes g2, bishop g2, bishop c4, and white ends up with the a passer, which actually we can evaluate as perhaps a better ending for white.
At least dangerous. Yeah, definitely very dangerous. You don't want to give this, especially if you have a nice candidate move like queen f6. Very, very harmonious. You are planning to go rook a d8, coordinating your forces. Yeah, Magnus goes knight e3. But now white is also not really playing for an advantage with this incredible bishop on c6.
It somehow feels it's easier to play from black side at this point.
You're hitting the a4 pawn. So Magnus goes knight g4, attacking the queen. And if queen g6, what does he have in mind?
Well, we have to calculate knight e5 because knight h3, there is king h2. It goes on.
Let's look at that. That's a fun line. Maybe it's only fun for white now.
Yeah, it looks like that because we'll take the bishop. Yeah, now we change queens.
And you can even give a check and pick up the knight.
Or take the rook on f8. Either way it works. A check is probably better.
And any queen move now, you just simply pick up the knight on h3. So this tactic is not working. So queen g6, knight e5 is a nice resource. So avoiding that, he goes queen g5. And after rook e5, he'll probably go queen g6.
Exactly.
That's so subtle and so nice. So he's provoking white to put the rook on e5 so that the knight can't jump to e5 once the queen goes to g6.
But also after rook e5, f5 is kind of scary from white side. I mean, I feel like with white, probably you want to get out of these dangers with maybe king, but then rook a d8 is coming already. A little bit unpleasant. Yeah, g3 played by Magnus. Yeah, g3 is the move.
Knight e6.
Knight e6, and then probably just kick this queen away with h4.
Or rook e5, yeah?
Or rook e5, yeah. But maybe if I could include h4, or also knight e5, yeah, with g3, if we are forcing back the knight to e6, then white is also taking control. Actually, beautiful regrouping by Magnus. Yeah, knight d to c4, e3, knight g4, and now timely g3. Beautifully played.
And Jan's expression, he's not very, very happy with what has just happened. I think it's the feeling that you feel you built an initiative, you built an attack, and rook d8, and we see our rival bar shoot right up. What happens for g takes f4 here?
What?
Is he saying just queen f4 and you've got to go queen e2, stopping queen f3 and some tactics with bishop f3? Can we take a look at this line?
Takes, queen e2. I mean, isn't it just a blunder, or he thinks that rook f8 he has?
Knight e3.
Yeah, gf4 on the
wait
board.
a second. Can I play rook ad1? Can I play rook ad1 after rook f8?
Okay, let's just slow down. Let's just take the position in. Peter, can we just have the position with rook d8 on the board and just slowly go through what is happening? After rook d8, black was attacking the queen and white took the knight. Let's just back up a little bit and just take it a bit slow from here. So white goes g takes f4, hits black's queen. So black doesn't have the time to capture on d1. Jan, of course, had spotted queen takes f4, and queen e2 has to be played here because you need to stop black's queen from coming to f3, after which there will be mate on h1. So queen e2 is the only square. And now it's Jan's move.
Rook ad1, I don't see how black is surviving.
Yeah, this is actually a wonderful move, rook ad1. Maybe it was missed by, maybe this was the move that was missed by Jan.
And the whole point is that rook e8, you're again pursuing the queen, and rook d1, rook e2 runs into a back rank checkmate, very Kostanuik style.
Yes, this is then terrible oversight. Yeah, with 10 minutes on the clock, Jan was just rushing too quickly. He almost blitzed out this sacrifice, and he was just not alert enough that there might be this contra strike with rook ad1.
And Jan spots it now. He spots it now that this rook e8, I think, Gangs, you're absolutely on point, that rook f8, rook d1 is perhaps what was missed. Can we try and see? I think this is a very important resource, taking advantage of black's back rank weakness. Are there any other ways in which black can try and create and reinforce the threat of queen f3 if rook e8 is not working?
I mean, I'm also very curious what Jan had after knight e3, for example. What was the idea? I'm just counting that if you play, let's say, moves like rook d6, I can have the same threat of knight g2, using this back rank trick.
Yeah, so I have to play the rook e6 first, yeah?
But then there is no threat.
Yeah, you can anyway play knight g2 if you want, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm actually not getting it. I somehow feel like it was just like a terrible oversight, like after rook a8, white has g takes f4, and maybe it was just very simply missed.
And rook d2 here runs into queen e3. And can we try and get our queen from d5? For example, rook d2, queen e3, let's say queen d6. It should be very slow, of course. Maybe even queen e5.
This is hopeless, yeah. I mean, okay.
Just no threats.
Actually, white also has this rook lift, yeah?
Yeah. No, this is dead lost.
Wow, you think black is completely busted here now after queen e2, yeah?
Yeah, piece down. And I mean, I feel after rook f8, knight e3 also wins, but rook a d1, it just wins on the spot. If you have to move the rook from d file, then really nothing left.
Yeah, but this is very, very, very unfortunate, because actually this incredible match, this incredible final could be decided by this one move blunder like this. It will be very difficult to come back after this.
Yeah. I was continuing this line after, let's say, rook f8, rook a d1. If you move the rook, let's say, to a8, hoping that after knight e3 you have bishop f3, but there is queen d2 at this point.
But queen d2, queen f3?
Queen d2, you have queen f3. No, queen d2, you have queen f3. That's right. No, so then, but then maybe this is possible, yeah? Or, again, I have the same trick. Knight e3, bishop f3, knight g2.
Yeah, you might, but yeah, Jan goes rook d8.
And immediately queen d3 on the board, so still hanging on to the f3 square. And now if black goes rook d8, you'll have the move queen e3 or queen g3.
Yeah, no, this
time to resign.
Wow, this is so unfortunate. And Peter, we've got our live board in front of us. Can we just go back to that moment when Jan really quickly went for this idea with rook d8, and it just changed everything from a very comfortable position we were thinking for Jan?
Well, I mean, already I was praising Magnus's regrouping with this knight d2, c4, e3, knight g4. It was very well timed. And it looks like maybe, I mean, if black has to go back to e6, that white might be able to put some microscopic problems. And that maybe brought Jan to the idea that he has to try to play for the initiative. But, I mean, rook a d8 was clearly some very simple blunder. I mean, it wasn't planned sacrifice at all.
Yeah. This idea with knight e6, knight d4, I mean, it looks like black's also got game there. We've had a few moves after h5, hitting that knight. The knight falls back to h2. You do have a check on g5, but white's queen can always intercept it with queen g3.
Yes.
And Jan's really slowed down now, but it's probably too late.
Yeah, it's too late. You know, when we look at the clock situation, we can understand the excitement of Jan, yeah, that he had 10 minutes versus Magnus about 3.5 minutes, little bit more than 3.5 minutes, and he got probably carried away by the fact that he looked at the clock and he wanted to create as much mess as possible. But this sacrifice actually, due to this rook f8, rook a d1 idea, was not even a sacrifice, and it's just losing technically. In fact, you don't even need any way of... Yeah, you don't even need to show any technique. Yeah, it's piece is a piece, and if there is no mating idea, then it just lost.
Yeah, if Jan resigns at this point, it is not at all surprising.
No, he will never resign. He will try to create something, but I mean, now the move queen g6 is a very big threat. Yeah.
So h4.
Yeah, h4, but that gives the g4 square again.
G4 square.
But you have to play h4. Yeah, you have to, I think. And then you play bishop g2. Yeah.
Queen G5, let's say. But then there is Knight F3 at least.
Then I have Knight F3, yeah. And I'm stabilizing, coming out with the pieces. Yeah, this is a very, very sad moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this game is going to go on for much longer. Jan has taken so much time here. He clearly realizes that it's gone all wrong, and Rook D8 was the turning moment in the game. Knight H2, we're struggling to find a way for Black to even try and create problems in White's position. A piece up for Magnus. And this looks like it's going to end soon.
Yeah, this is very unfortunate. I think what Jan is probably, of course, he's still looking for some chances, but maybe in his mind he's already thinking about the next game because it will be his last White game. Yeah, if he wants to bounce back, then he really needs to put all his efforts, all his energy into that game, because here I just don't see what you can create. I mean, Rook E5, can we play a move like Rook E? Can I try to?
But then the same, after Rook E5, Queen E5, at least you're sneakily attacking the Rook on A1. So White doesn't have time to go Bishop G2. Peter, you know Jan well. He goes for Rook E5.
Yes, I know him very well, but unfortunately, if it's lost, it's lost. Yeah, it's yeah, takes, and also Rook A3 is very clear. Yeah, Magnus even goes C3.
And there's always Queen G3, and after H4, White just has enough time to regroup with Bishop G2, Knight F3. And Black's Rook, can he try? Does he? Yes, let's just show that. And there's always Knight F3 after this. Peter, does Black have enough time to try and get the other Rook into the attack with Rook E8, Rook E6, Rook G6? It feels like it's a forever journey.
Yeah. It feels like, yeah. I mean, after Rook E8, you also have this move Queen G3, yeah. It might be very effective, but also Bishop G2 is very tempting. But probably we will see Rook E8. I mean, what else?
Rook E8, Rook E8 on the board, and Queen G3 or Bishop G2. Bishop G2, maybe Rook E6.
Queen G3 then you want Queen F5 or something like that, right?
Going to try and keep the queens on for as long as I can.
Yeah, at least some little chances, because the pieces are now misplaced.
Yeah, like Bishop C6, maybe you can go Rook G6 immediately.
Yeah, but of course, I mean, there is just no reason to play now Queen G3. Yeah? It's if you want to play Queen G3, you can do it now, for example, immediately. Yes. If you play Bishop G2, then you don't need Queen G3 already.
Queen G5 he goes for, so still pinning
but
that
then
bishop.
Then Queen G3 just over, no?
Yeah, Queen G3 looks over enough, yeah.
This was just a bit of a heartbreak moment, no? Just an oversight. And then in a game like this, when you have such an oversight, there are no chances of making a comeback. It's not like a minor mistake or requires too much calculation. And then such a game just feels a bit sad.
Yeah, especially we have seen that there were mistakes yesterday, but it was always done in some incredible, crazy, tense moment. Yeah, when it was very difficult to use it. But here, of course, this is very, very technical.
Why Queen G3 was not played, by the way?
Sorry?
Magnus did not play Queen G3 for some reason.
Okay, this is also good. I mean, he will go Rook E1 now. It looks good enough, no? Or then maybe you will take the second, but I don't feel like you can take the second pawn.
But maybe you have to, after Rook E1, just trade and go Queen A4, and it's 2 pawns.
Yeah, Rook E1 on the board.
There is Queen D8, Queen G5.
Yeah. Brutal, yeah.
And Queen A1 here doesn't get you anything. Queen A1? Queen
Queen
D1.
D1.
Okay, even
Queen
better.
D1
I
is
was also
strong.
thinking Queen A1 hitting the C3 pawn, but Queen D1 defends H5. Very nice.
Yeah, protects H5. But okay, I mean, yeah, we will see this Rook E1, Knight E1, Queen A4, but okay, this is technically completely winning. No need to hurry. I mean, basically, you can fix the pawn structure, take on C6, go C4, so that you can never play B5 and then get the knight G2, knight E3, and it's hopeless. I mean, let's
Yeah,
just
bishop
show
C6,
this.
Queen C6, C4 feels like the cleanest way to do it.
Yeah, it's on the board. Yeah.
Magnus going for it. C4, so black has 2 extra pawns, but the 1 pawn that white has on the queen side has clamped down the 2 that black has, and now rerouting the knight all the way to D5.
Yeah,
And queen is very nicely placed on D3. It just stops B5. The knight will be very secure on D5. And once this knight comes to D5, black king is going to suffer a bit.
Yes, it's absolutely hopeless. Black has to put the queen on E5 himself. Yeah, he needs to cover the long diagonal, but okay, it's slowly you just kick this away.
Yeah, he's probably trying to get knight E3, queen F3, but even that doesn't seem scary at all.
Yeah, the knight on E3 is such a monster. Yeah.
Yeah, just queen D7, let's say, after queen F3.
Yes. Magnus goes queen E4, queen A1 check, king H2. So he wants to go queen B2 and then push B5. Yeah, it's but B5 runs into queen A8 check. So that's why Magnus did not mind, because trading the B pawn for the C pawn would, of course, at least give little hope. I mean, it should also be lost, but that would be much better than the current situation.
All right, but queen B2 at least attacks the F2 pawn. So how is white going to first defend it? Because then maybe you have to destabilize your queen from E4. Goes king G3. Nice. King G7. Now he wants to go B5.
Yeah, now he will play B5, but then CB5 and queen B5, queen E5 check followed by knight D5 might lead to mating attack.
This reminds me of the construction Magnus had in the other game with the queen on E5, knight on F6. It ended in a draw. I don't know, Peter, it was from
Abdul Sattorov. Yeah, Abdul Sattorov.
Yeah.
Actually, this final position, let's say I go king G8, you play knight D5. I give a check and play C4 and try to claim that, okay, there is no immediate mate.
Oh, wow. So C4, knight F6. Where do you go with your king?
King
H4. He's doing the Nigel short march. He wants to go king G5, king H6 and give a mate on G7.
That's exactly what we were discussing, right?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? There was also this last game from Tata Steel last year in Jordan Fan Forest against Niels Grandelius. So it also ended with a king G5, king H6.
Yes.
Nigel's
and
king
it's kind
march.
of hard to imagine how black is fighting, because you can give a check on D2, but white will always have the move F4. And after that, the white king is completely safe on the H6 square.
Yeah, there is just no way of fighting it, because whenever you go king H7, it will be met by knight F6 check. So Jan starts with queen D2. But hang on, knight F6, knight F6, king F8, you are not losing the queen yet. Okay.
And if F4, then he wants to go queen G2.
But knight F6 and knight E4 is also an option, right? Knight F6, king F8, knight E4, you gain a tempo and then pick up on C5 with a check.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it's hopelessly lost, yeah. But of course, F4 is the most...
He goes F4, he's going for the idea. He wants to follow up with king G5, king H6. Queen G2 feels like the only way to fight it.
Yeah, but you fight the king G5 idea, but it does not change anything for the game. Yeah, you can just
What about king H7? What about king H7?
Yeah, no
he goes
I mean,
queen
then
G2.
knight F6 check.
Knight F6, I was hoping for king G5, but there's always queen G5 stuff as well. All right, so queen G2 on the board, still stopping king G5. And now King F8.
And then
And
Queen
Queen
E8,
E8.
Queen F8. Yeah, finish. Yeah, game over.
Oh, that's nice. And you pick up the F7 pawn with
With the
checks.
check. Yeah. This is resigned right now. This is actually
Yeah.
mate. It's just
Let's
mate.
just show it till the
Yeah,
end,
it
Peter.
is. But
You can even
And
pre-move
knight
it
F6.
actually. It doesn't matter. King H8, King H6.
It's the same stuff.
Yeah.
With that, Magnus Carlsen takes a lead in this final. A very unfortunate moment in this game. Black creating chances, Magnus finding a good resource of, as you mentioned, regrouping pieces. But still, it felt like Black had things under control. Could have just fallen back with the knight and simply the game goes on. But that turning moment where Jan Nepomniachtchi wanted to go for the attack, but miscalculated something. Perhaps that rook e8, rook d1 idea. And this was where it all went wrong for Jan. Peter, let's just do a play-by-play one time.
yeah, and look at this. We are still seeing Jan there. He did not leave. I mean, he just he's in total shock. Yeah, it was completely unnecessary. I think he almost was like a little bit already too euphoric. Yeah, that he has a big time advantage. He has a lovely position, and he felt like, you know, this gives him the right to go for this speculative sacrifice. And he had just missed that after rook f8. This rook ad1 intermezzo just puts an end to all hopes. Yeah, very, very nice, because maybe intuitively he felt like we are speculating what about knight e3, but knowing Jan, he might have believed that, okay, come on, I'm gonna go bishop f3 or I'm gonna go rook e6, there will be something. Yeah, maybe it's not true. Maybe he has just missed the move g takes f4. Of course, we will maybe never find out unless he tells us after the game, after the match.
I think missing g takes f4 is a bit hard to believe, but because it hits the queen immediately, but definitely some miscalculation. And unfortunately, after that blunder, there was no hope to come back in the game. So Magnus leads by a point in this final. We've got two more rapid games coming up. Surya, what do you make out of this? And what do you think Jan needs to do to come back in the next two games? He's starting with the white pieces in the third one.
Yeah, it was actually very shocking, not just here, but also how things changed. At some point, we were feeling Black had the momentum, but just this maneuver, knight c4, knight e3, knight g4, and immediately blundered. So, yes, around this point, I recall we were quite happy with Black because Black had activity. And who could imagine, you know, the game will end in like literally 3 moves. So, yeah, unless he really is able to delete this game completely, it's kind of deja vu of game 6 in a way. It's like, you know, so much of unexpected turns. And unless he really gets out of this game, it could be a complete, it can go downhill.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm also worried about, that simply it wasn't in the match that it would end like this, or some episode like this would occur. Yeah, because every game had been an incredible fight with mutual chances and so on, and then in a match which is so hard fought and so balanced, then suddenly to give a present like this to your opponent, I mean, first he needs to forgive himself. Yeah, and this is already very, very difficult because the next game is coming in like 10 minutes. And you just drive yourself crazy that why on earth am I giving a free point to my opponent, and then coming back from this, he really needs the game to start very well in his favor in the opening, to somehow forget about this game and then be able to look forward that he has a chance or he has a pressure. But if Magnus manages to block him and he has to go for some speculation, then with this mindset it will be very, very difficult.
Gangs, interesting that you mentioned about game 6. Chat also pointing out this is the 6th rapid game in the finals here as well. So definitely Jan Nepomniachtchi needs to do what he can in the next few minutes to make sure that he comes out of it. He starts with the white pieces in the next one. A big game coming up for Jan, because if he's not able to make something in the next one with the black pieces trying to beat Magnus, the task gets tougher. We'll be back. We're going into a short break. We'll be right back with game 3 action.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Airthings.
Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game and get paired with players from around the world fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.
Chessle, the definitive solution for studying chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessle courses.
I'm ahead of the game.
Well, the phone is always ringing, I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger, remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker, but follow me, I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging, I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy, logically, I'm impossibly wanted, and they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessle, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the end game with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessle courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Krzysztof Sulecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
This is John. John loves to study chess. This is David. David loves to study chess as well, but efficiently. John spends more time setting up the board and figuring out what's on the page of his book than he gets to study. David likes to take it easy and use his time wisely. David has finished his exercise for today. John should try the same.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to have a lift-off in just a few minutes for Game 3 between Jan Nepomniachtchi and Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen leads the final set with a win in the last game in Game 2, a game that suddenly went terribly wrong for Jan Nepomniachtchi after an oversight, a miscalculation. Now it all comes down to Jan taking on with the white pieces. We'll see if he's able to create chances or not. Peter, Gangs, first tell me, how important is the fact that he has only one white left for his comeback in this match?
Yeah, very, very important. I mean, I really feel like now Jan needs to mobilize all his reserves, I mean, all the mental energy, everything, because this is his chance. We have seen Magnus whenever he gets a chance to play with white, when he only needs a draw, he's just merciless. He doesn't give any chances to his opponents. So this is a crucial game, a decisive game. And I'm really hoping that Jan will be able to pose some problems, because if he gets some chance, I feel that he can overcome this game. But if he cannot get an advantage and he has to go for speculation, and then he's taking all this frustration with him and he tries to gamble because he needs to, then I don't think that he can create chances against Magnus. But if he gets a dominant position, like good opening, and he can play from strength, then he can do it.
Very interesting. I want to run a poll in our chat. Let's have that up. A very crucial Game 3 coming up with the white pieces. Will Jan strike back in this one, chat? Tell us what you think about it. We've been talking about how important the opening phase is going to be. Jan, we're expecting him to start with 1e4. It's been crucial in this finals, the kind of prep they've been showing. And Gangs, speaking of openings, after the phenomenal response you've had to your first course in the Nimzo Tarrasch, you're out with a part 2. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm super happy. So my courses really runs on feedback. So whatever feedbacks I got from part 1, and I could improvise a lot on part 2. Already, people were saying this part 1 is some sort of a benchmark, and it would be difficult to improvise on that. But I'm really happy that, in my opinion, part 2 is much better than part 1. So. People can check out the short and sweet, which is available for free, and it gives an idea how the lines are covered. There are many interesting games. By the way, it also covers the only game me and Peter played from World Rapid, so that is also featured there since Peter is here. And of course, many of Peter's games as well is covered in the course. So my challenge is I'm going to break the conception that semi-Tarrasch and Catalan is boring. It's not. So that's absolutely is my challenge, that it's not boring, it can be extremely dynamic.
Super fun. Peter, now Gangs is mentioning that a lot of your games have been chosen for this course. He's analyzed a lot of them. What's your opinion on this opening?
Well, I mean, definitely semi-Tarrasch and Nimzo Indian had been my main weapons the last couple of years, before I started working mainly as a commentator and as a trainer and second. So I still have, like a full-fledged repertoire there, and I love those openings. And I know Surya very well. We have been working together also in some period, like in 2012. We had some session. We analyzed the Karpov system of the Nimzo Indian together, after which I went on to win a fantastic game against Ivan Sokolov, one of the greatest experts in this opening. So definitely we share some very, very nice memories with Surya on this topic.
So chat, if you're looking for a repertoire against 1d4, definitely check out Gang's course on the Nimzo Semi-Tarrasch. There's a short and sweet version available for free, and the full course on Chessle. We see both our players are ready for action. And this time, I'm not going to ask Peter for his prediction or Gangs. I'm going to ask chat. One more poll I want up before we've got liftoff. That is it time for Jan to go for the King's Gambit? Is that not only what the spectators want, but do you think that Jan needs to do this and this is the moment? Meanwhile, will Jan strike back in this one? It's almost a 50-50 poll. A lot of our audience thinks it's going to be a tough one. 58% for it's going to be tough, and 41% have faith in Jan with the white pieces.
Well, I hope so. And E4 on the board, we gonna see a repeat.
C5.
No, and pause. And
Ah.
okay, this is a very nice invitation by Magnus,
Tamanov.
because okay, it's a
It
big
will be
fight.
Tamanov. Magnus played Tamanov against, again, he played in white. With whom it was? I keep forgetting.
G4 on the board. So this line, wow, this is going to be fun. I think Magnus perhaps just didn't want to give Jan the opportunity to even go F4. Peter, do you think that could be it?
Well, it's also very interesting because usually if this position would happen with reverse colors, like Magnus would be white and Jan would be with black, I think people would not be surprised at all. Yeah, Jan was playing a lot of Paus and Taimanov recently in the previous tour, but yeah, Magnus opting, I mean, going for this against Jan, that's quite a brave choice and quite surprising.
But also, let's not forget, this is the exact position which Magnus had in white against Niels.
Yes, against Glandelius, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, at this point, Niels played F3 and King B1 is played by Jan.
At the Tata Steel?
Yes.
All right, so maybe you can tell us, gangs, what were the different ideas that the players have? King B1 played, and you mentioned F3 is the other way to go. What are the different plans that both sides have in these structures?
So that game, I remember it was F3, Rook C8. And something strange happened. Yeah, Queen D2, Bishop B4, Bishop D4. This is how the game continued. F6, G5, was it? Yeah, I think F6, G5, H6, something like this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was the direction.
Yeah, something like this. Somewhere it was, yeah, it got completely crazy. Yeah, with some King B1, Knight takes B5, or
yes,
yeah, yeah, and okay, but here King B1, Knight F6, F3. The move order used by Jan is to provoke the knight to F6 before playing F3. So he does not want to commit F3 before Black's knights reached on F6. That's how I'm understanding. But in general, of course, yeah, White's idea is very simple: stabilize the queen side and then push on the king side. And Black will definitely try very quick counterplay on the C file.
Yeah, Rook C8, Bishop C5 is very typical. If you can change queens here, since your king is in the center, the D6 square does not matter because you will put your king on E7. So Rook C8 and Bishop C5, if you get, if there is nothing happening immediately, then it's fine for Black.
After Rook C8, will White have just the kind of time he needs to go G5 and hit the knight before you go Bishop C5?
Well, G5 is always Knight H5. So this is for sure. And next you want to play Bishop C5. I think we
grab
just
that
got into
F4 square.
Yeah, from a different move order, we just got into a very proper English attack of Taimanov, one of the main positions.
Yeah, Rook C8 on the board.
I mean, looking at the way the opening's gone, at least one thing we can be happy about, that it promises to be a fun game, this one. G5 played. Knight H5, as you pointed out, is the right response. So the F4 square is pretty critical. And now Black wants to go Bishop C5 trade and get that knight into F4. After Queen D2, does Queen D2 on the board, does Black go Bishop B4 or Bishop C5 now?
Bishop C5 you cannot
Bishop C5 you can't go
D7,
because
right?
of D7.
I forgot what is the move prop.
Peter,
But
let's
Bishop
just point
B4
out.
also. Bishop B4 also there is knight into B5. Oh no!
Oh wow!
No, this,
Can we
no,
see
no,
that
no, it's not
tactic?
there. It's not there. No, it's not there because at the end there is Queen takes C2. But wait, yeah, Queen takes C2 is there now. This is not possible. Bishop B4. What do I want then? Do I want to play?
Well, probably just Bishop D4, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, because E5 there is Bishop into E5.
Yeah. Okay, you would castle, yeah. Still difficult to say what is happening. I'm not even sure about this Bishop D4, yeah.
Magnus having a bit of a think. He's not sure either. You're not the only one here, Peter. Queen d2 played. And okay,
What if
so
I play something
we're getting
like-
some information that there's a very interesting idea that White has after bishop b4 to make the move bishop h3. But doesn't that just run into something on c3? Bishop c3 and just pick up what's the point? Can we just go through this?
Yeah,
line?
bishop c3, then b takes c3. It's also typical for this Taimanov Pausens that giving up the dark square bishop and then ruining white pawn structure thanks to this wonderful bishop on e3 is not really a big issue.
And also after queen c3, rook c3, there's the move bishop g4, and after g6, bishop d4 will come in.
Well, but you can't take on c3 because queen d7 is coming
queen
as
d7.
well.
I'm always forgetting about queen d7.
Yeah, queen d, it's very easy to, yeah, and Magnus goes bishop e7, Jan blitzes out bishop h3. I also believe that Jan was the one who was playing a lot of this Taimanov main variation of the English attack with queen d2, bishop e3, queen d2, with white and with black, yeah, so he knows all these kind of things perfectly, and there might be some small difference, tiny small difference, which might work now in white's favor.
So there was this bishop h3 idea. I remember at some point Caruana played this. Usually black tries to play b4 and after the knight moves to play d5. This is very typical. Like, yeah, imagine b4, let's say knight e2 and play d5.
But can't you go knight a4 instead? Because you can also try and get your knight to b6.
Yeah,
But
here
I
bishop
mean,
g4, g6.
Also here bishop g4 is possible, yeah?
Let's say g6. Can I do this or not? Or
yeah, but I mean, even if I just take and push e5 looks already good, no?
Yeah, I remember d4 is the key point. Can I even play here, d4? Oh no, not here. Maybe it's too much. I don't know. d4 and castle.
No, probably you need to. Yeah, actually,
I have to play d4.
Yeah, this is what I remember from old times also, that there was this d4 pawn sacrifice and takes castle and was double H because the bishop is too strong.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So this d5, d4 idea is very thematic.
And we are getting the information from Tarias that there had been a game between Anand and Jordan Fanfores from Croatia, Grand Chess Tour. It should be a rapid game, I guess, which featured b4 knight to d5, and then bishop g4, g6. Vichy did not take on h5. He opted for bishop d4, and after castles went e5.
Ah, this is strong. Yeah. So the star move here was to play bishop d4 first and then play e5. Then you completely kill the bishop on b7. This black definitely do not want. Black wants to play d4 as quickly as possible. I mean, take this d5 pawn from this current position and black is completely fine. I prefer black if you can just throw this d5 pawn away.
Very interesting. All right, now when you're analyzing these variations, you're constantly looking at b4, knight e2, but very often in the Sicilian, white can also go knight a4. Is that
still d5.
b4 on the board, by the way? So what is wrong with knight a4 trying to get into b6?
D5. Still d5 and knight b6, rook d8. That is how they were. I mean, this line was being played.
And bishop g4 at some point wouldn't make a difference. For example, okay, now maybe I can't because you've got this d takes e4 stuff. So if we just go d5, bishop g4, how do you respond? G6 anyway.
Yes. I remember there were also some sacrifices, but not here. Not in this one, probably.
Well,
Here,
he's
maybe
having
I
a
just
think
did
whether
this.
to go knight e2 or knight a4. Or is there a third move possible?
No. It's just knight a4 and knight e2.
Yeah, knight
He goes
e2.
for knight e2.
d5 has to be played.
So
Because
this
if
is
you
a very
start with-
important.
Yeah, because if you start with castle, for example, then after bishop g4, g6, white could be simply much faster, bringing his knight all the way to h5.
Oh, nice. So that's the other advantage of making the move knight e2, that very often in this you can build an attack on the king side with the knight.
Exactly. So that's why you want to strike in the center immediately with d5. But the big question is, what are we going to do after against this Anand's game? d5, bishop g4, g6, bishop d4.
Yeah, and Vichy was always a big expert of all this English attack, also against the Najdorf, against the Paus and Taimanov.
Yes.
So following him makes a lot of sense.
So what's the line? Can we just have it on the board one more time and see? So d5 hitting the center, white plays bishop g4. There's no square for the knight, so black has to play the move g6. And here you go for bishop d4 and then e5.
Yeah, using that the bishop is still on g4, so the rook on c8 is hanging. You can't play the move e5. And then after castles already we get this grip which Surya very nicely described, that without the pawn on d5 actually black would be very happy with this fantastic bishop on b7 plus rook fd8 coming with counterplay, but with this pawn on d5 white sets up a wonderful blockade and black's king is in a lot of trouble. White is starting to take on h5, create all these mating ideas that we talked about with knight gc, knight h5. And if you move back the knight to g7, then simply h4, h5 comes with very powerful attack for free.
And to the audience, I can suggest if you want to see a game where the bishop is suffering and white has this control, you might want to check Leko Gurevich from Elista Candidates, I believe.
Yes, it was Elista Candidates.
2007, yeah.
Yes. Pleasant memories, pleasant memories.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Classics, modern classics.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's really feels to me like Magnus was gambling with his Taiman of choice. He goes for d5. I mean, exactly against Jan. Yeah, bishop g4 bleeds out, g6.
So Jan, of course, knows this idea, and we're expecting bishop d4 and e5 on the board, and then he takes bishop h5.
He took on h5. Yeah, this is also typical Jan. He wants to go for a more direct way. I think he believes that he can just go for a direct attack. Does he want to go knight g3 and ignore everything?
Knight g3. Does black go h4?
Yeah, and then knight h5.
And how scary is knight g7? Because there's always king f8, no?
No, not knight g7, but some bishop d4 and knight f6 check and all this knight f4. Okay, it's even maybe stronger.
Starts with knight f4.
What happens for a bishop g5? You have knight e6 or knight d5.
Yeah, one of them basically both knight takes d5 or knight e6 looks very promising. Yeah, Magnus goes d4. I think, yeah, good or bad, Magnus needs to open up the center, but now black's king is really vulnerable.
This is an absolutely crazy position.
Couldn't black play d4 there, or I was missing something? I must be missing something.
You mean instead of d takes e4, so that you're threatening the idea of e5? Maybe we can just back up and quickly take a look.
I mean, takes e5.
And
can
queen
I take
d7? Yeah.
Yeah, and queen d7. This must be the point.
Although and rook on c8 is hanging.
I mean, rook b8 still goes on. Knight d3, yeah?
Yes, that nails it.
Yeah, that's good enough. But yeah, Magnus says, like, you know what? You have the attack. I want to be at least pawn up, and it's not just the pawn, but Magnus is opening up the e4 square for his bishop, and Jan keeps on blitzing with bishop f4. Does not even want to think for a second.
Yeah.
And the eval bar seems to indicate that he should be thinking for at least a little bit longer, because after bishop f4, it looks like he's at least let a bit of the advantage slip away. It does hit the queen. Where does black want to move the queen? Because you can't allow queen d7. So is queen c6 the way to go?
Well, moving the queen, or I don't know, is e5 running into some very direct refutation?
Yeah, because queen c6, there is queen d4. Yeah, I can simply ignore queen c2 check because king a1, it's just, I don't see anything happening. For example, after queen c6, queen d4, queen c2, king a1, black is getting mated almost.
But also queen c6, just bishop e5, yeah, and then knight f6 looks.
Yeah.
Bishop e5 here, and then knight f6. Very nice.
Yeah, he's playing very quickly. Of course, if it will work out, everybody will say, yeah, of course, that's the young, I mean, this incredible spirit, you know, just to put the opponent under as much pressure as possible. But if he spoils it, then of course everybody will be blaming that why on earth you have 15 minutes on the clock. You have a very promising position. Magnus is out of his prep. He's down to 7-8 minutes. Just spend some time and find the most precise way of executing your attack.
Speaking of prep, is there any possibility, because of the speed with which Jan is playing, he's got more time than what he started with, that could this be part of Jan's prep or something that he's familiar with in his files?
No, I think it's very, very hard to imagine because, you know, if the line would be principled, but we have been seeing that the engine indicated that white is clearly better. I mean, nowadays you are not analyzing clearly better variations because there are so many problems. Yeah. I mean, basically, whenever you feel that this is promising already nowadays, you just stop. In all times, it was a traditional way like, okay, so this is interesting. Engines were also still not that strong. You kept on analyzing till very, very deep, even if you had the advantage. But nowadays, people don't do that.
Well, Jan did mention in one of his interviews that he's struggling to calculate, so he's relying on his intuition a lot. So maybe that's what he's doing here. Bishop f4 on the board. Gangs, you were saying something.
No, I just said Jan left. I don't know. Is this even allowed or something?
Probably a washroom break. I'm not really sure. I think we've seen players do that, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Okay.
So bishop f4. Now the other move that you mentioned here was queen c6. He's gone for a move that we were not discussing, queen d8, and suddenly we see that something shifted. So after queen d8, definitely not a queen trade. What does Magnus have in mind if white just simply moves away the queen, attacking with the rook, queen e3 you're mentioning?
Bishop d5 maybe? But again, I'm so scared of this queen e5 or bishop e5 kind of move. Probably queen e5.
Queen a5,
sorry,
yeah?
After queen e3, queen a5.
But okay, then we have time to get bishop to e5. I mean, I'm loving this for white.
And black can never short castle because of knight f6.
Yeah, this one. I mean, I don't believe in the move queen a5, but what does Magnus have in mind? So bishop d5 looked to me at least a little bit more natural, but...
Queen e5 after bishop d5?
Queen e5, yeah.
And just
so
move
rook
the
g8.
Rook to g8. Let's just show the pretty line after rook f8, Peter, because it's fun. Rook f8, knight g7, king d7, rook d5, e d5, queen d5, bishop d6, queen d6, checkmate.
Yes. Basically, my calculation, I stop here as checkmate. Yeah, but yeah, but, yeah. So I'm really struggling to. But can someone tell me that what happened after e5? I mean, maybe Tadeusz can.
Let's take bishop into e5.
Bishop
Let's take
e5.
bishop e5 and then think later. Now do we go queen d7 or rook e1? Two very tempting moves.
Let's start with rook e1 and then...
Yeah, rook e1 and bishop e4 is not possible due to queen d7, queen c8. Yeah.
And queen f5 runs into knight g7 as well. So next
queen c7 now.
Okay, it's already looking very, very suspicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
It should
actually, then now rook into e7 just. And
yeah, this should just win.
Wow, you boys are really having fun in this position.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a type of position where you can have fun. Yeah, queen e3, bishop d5 on the board.
So what was the line that we were looking at here? Something to e5. Are we going with bishop e5 or queen e5?
Well,
yes.
Bishop e5, there is this knight bishop into g5 move that also has to be considered.
Yes, Surya went queen e5 and then instead of rook f8, we were discussing this rook g8 position.
And maybe just rook h1, you have f2 every time. That's actually an annoying move.
Yes. Well, I mean, somehow I don't like the move queen e5, but of course, if it's good, it's good. I would definitely try to somehow make bishop e5 work, but bishop e5, bishop takes g5 is a problem. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I don't see anything immediately.
Yeah, let's just show this. Yeah, bishop e5 followed by knight f6 would be lovely, but black can take on g5. And okay, I have this rook takes d5 business, but this endgame, I'm not sure that this is so clear. Yeah, takes,
Yes.
and this pass pawn creates some headache.
Yeah, just rook d2, for example, it could be.
Yeah, I'm not liking this.
Yeah.
Ah, wow. I mean, okay.
We got an information from Stat. The strongest move here is b3.
Prophylactics, yeah, just prophylactics.
But b3 is also, Peter, you know Jan best. Do you think b3 is even on Jan's radar?
Well, who knows? I mean, Jan is incredible, so maybe he can spot these things, but you have to feel it. Yeah, you really have to feel it. You have to be a computer kind of to do that. And we are getting told that it's kind of plus 1.2 after BC, and every other move is like 0.40. So it really has a very, very huge impact. Engine basically indicates that you don't have a move, you can't really hide your king because castles anyway runs into bishop e5 and then this mating attack, so queen e5. And taking away all this queen a5 tempo, jumping out with the queen. Well,
I know at least one player who would play b3 instantly. Adiban.
Knight f6. Adiban will play 1b3 in any position.
Any position, yeah, b3 is the solution.
To all of life's problem, b3 is the answer. Well, Jan, we've seen him go for the most direct approach, most energetic moves. And Peter, this time also, he goes knight f6 check. We weren't considering this. The point is that if black takes queen f6, of course, there's bishop e5. But now black can keep the king on e8 and it feels relatively safe there.
Yeah, I'm not liking it. I'm a little bit in shock of this knight f6 check because it almost feels like to me that white has given up on all these ideas that usually thanks to this knight on h5 and pawn on g5 he had. I'm not liking this. I mean, now black has stabilized his position. Yeah, Magnus wants to make sure that he gets rook to g6, so rook to g2, even maybe better. I'm not getting the point of this.
It's the same thing what happened in the previous game also, right? Jan blitzing out in the crucial moment, having 15 minutes in the clock and making
but actually,
some
Gangs, this time he took about 5 minutes at this moment, so he did give it quite a bit of think before he went knight f6.
No, but not in this position, but 2 moves before, yeah, when the advantage kind of dropped down. B3 was B3 was not at all an easy move.
And that's
but
exactly
also
why...
Jan, was maybe in a difficult spot because he just had to go to the bathroom in the wrong moment. And if he would have come back after the bathroom and blitzed out the move BC, then everybody could have been accusing him that, there is something behind this action. But after knight f6 check, we know exactly that was not the case.
Yeah,
I feel, Peter, at this level, any kind of accusation is just plain silly. I mean, these guys just, it's not even a thing. Besides, of course, all the anti-cheating measures that are anyways in place. But in general, I think it just, for these guys, that doesn't even apply.
Yeah, they also believe in each other. Yeah, because after all, what it is, you are like a colleague. You share the same profession. You know exactly that you devote all your life to something. I mean, basically, by cheating, you are cheating on yourself as well. It's just terrible.
Yes.
So it makes no sense at all.
Yeah, and also I think the thing with b3, and that's why I asked you about whether it would be a move that Jan would consider, because in general, throughout this fast, rapid play, we've been really seeing Jan take the most direct line, and b3 just felt like something that perhaps he wouldn't consider. He did slow down and make a move knight f6, which, Peter, took you by surprise because it seems to block the position. And that knight on h5, there was just no need to rush with this check. It's always in your hands. Now after rook g8, Gangs, Peter, you're mentioning that things look good for black. How can white try to create, well, his own counter now that we've got this on our hands?
Yeah, basically also one thing I want to mention, that the reason why with white you might feel like you need to hurry up that we spoke about this, that bishop e5, bishop g5, at least it's not clear how to evaluate this position and how to continue. So it would be very tempting, then why not to just play the move h4, keep all these ideas still with bishop e5 in the air, but I think it can very, very nastily answered by queen a5, hitting on a2, and after b3 comes the typical sacrifice, rook takes c2, and destroying white's king. King takes c2, queen takes a2, and usually you don't even calculate any further because you know that this will definitely not work.
There is also king c1 castle, right, Peter?
Sorry?
I mean, for aesthetic beauty after king c1 in this position, black can also castle.
Exactly. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, basically, you don't calculate. You see that queen a5, b3, rook takes c2 is the threat, and then once we see this line, we see that how quickly things can escalate. Yeah, that we were talking about that every move would have given white some advantage, but things can turn with this h4, queen a5, b3, rook c2, and then we can already appreciate the move b3. Yeah, because after b3, if black goes for the move queen a5, then suddenly white has a move to play bishop e5. Yeah, this is a very, very big difference. Now hitting the rook, this was the move that we anyway wanted to play. Now g5 pawn is not hanging anymore, and after rook takes c2, king c2, queen takes a2 check, we always have a move bishop b2. Yeah, that's also a difference. Even this is not still not clear. You can castle. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, after looking at these lines, I just want to point out one thing which might explain the move knight f6. And if we just back up to the position where Magnus has played rook g8, I wonder if what attracted Jan was that after knight f6, this trade ef6, now if black plays queen a5, then white has this sneaky idea of queen a7, hitting a mate on e7 and queen a2 check, king c1, queen a1, king d2. I don't see a danger here. And I'm wondering if Jan wanted to create this counterplay against the threat of queen a5 by going queen a7.
There is
and look at
queen
this.
G1. Castle queen G1.
G1, yes.
Oh,
yes.
God.
Oh, super nice. And just queen g7. So yeah, I mean, I totally forgot about castle, but maybe this is exactly what attracted Jan to go knight f6.
Yeah, could be, but I mean, of course, black will immediately play rook g8. You secure the g file, and we see that Jan slowed down completely, plays the move rook h1, and now already engine bar says that black is almost completely winning. But it's also perfectly understandable. I mean, everything is nice. The king is safe. Only some rook takes d5 strikes are in the air, but this is not working here.
And Gangs, you make a very good point that if Magnus wins this, that's the end of the final. That's the end of the Airthings Masters. It would mean that Magnus wins the event.
Yeah, it actually comes quite as a shock. No, I mean, it comes as a shock because it looked like it's going to be such an incredible, big, fierce fight. And all of a sudden, it can end any minute already.
And especially after the kind of up and down and the battles that we saw yesterday, this just feels a very different narrative here. All right, let's try and find some variations and some lines that can keep the game alive. Rook g2, because I know that's exactly what Jan's thinking right now. How can he create his tricks? Yes, go on, Gang.
Queen a7. Let's go queen a7.
Let's go. Queen a7, I see the idea. So Gangs is threatening a sneaky rook takes d5, Peter.
But after rook c2, there are like million checks happening after rook into d5. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to survive this.
Very, very hard to believe that.
But who knows? Or maybe just rook b2 and queen c8. But then rook c5.
And then
rook c2.
Rook c2.
So here, any move basically rook c2. Bishop
let's
c7.
just show that on the board, Peter. Rook c5, rook c2, bishop c7, rook c2, queen c5, rook c2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So rook g2, that means that white can't allow rook takes c2. So queen a7 is a tricky try, but then black doubling up the rooks on the second rank seems to be winning the game. What else can white do after rook g2?
Well, you don't want to play rook c1. It feels so wrong. Rook d2 will simply change a couple of more pieces.
Yeah, but what to do? Yeah, if we don't have any other move, we have to play the move rook d2, no matter how bad it is.
True.
but it's a very, very sad move.
Because then the bishop on d5 is just
Queen
complete monster.
A7, gangs, your move is on the board.
Yeah, just last desperate try.
And I think this is exactly what we were talking about. This whole operation with knight f6, getting gf6. Jan just was very tempted with this idea of setting up this mating threat on e7 in different positions. Queen a7. Peter, let's go through this line that we saw one more time. Rook d5 is the idea. What happens after rook c2? And are we missing anything?
I was wondering if we could include bishop e5, but probably not.
Yeah, that after rook cc2 just to play bishop e5, but then we are not really threatening anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also maybe play
Maybe
a move
rook
like
e2.
rook d2, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, after getting the d file, then black is the one threatening with bishop e4 checkmates and everything.
Ah, apparently there are only two winning moves. And it's not rook cc2. So it's interesting. So rook cc2, we have been told it's a draw.
Yeah, so
Probably
basically it
rook
means
d5.
that this rook d5, rook b2, this whole operation does not end with a win, yeah?
But
Maybe
why
it's
not?
could it be rook takes e6? Could it be rook takes e6 instead of rook d5?
Wow, yes, maybe.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Rook e6 here, yeah?
Yes, so you've got to take with the pawn, right?
Yeah, but Magnus plays a spoiler, yeah? He goes queen d7. It was one of the winning moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Also very,
not
very
allowing...
typical of Magnus. Yeah, like not allowing any counter, not going for long, complicated force lines, but just being practical.
Of course, yeah.
By the way, we are being told that rook d5 is after rook c2, rook d5 was the line. I don't know what was wrong with rook e6, but it was so tempting to play it.
Yeah, now queen d4 back. Okay, this is kind of capitulation, yeah? This is not looking good.
So can black go for rook c2? How do you evaluate the position after rook c2, queen d5 might be possible after rook c2, yeah?
Yeah, let's calculate. So takes. But again, now for example, after rook a2, you can even maybe take queen a2. It's very bad, but or you don't want to take on a2.
No, but just queen into d5, two rooks check on b2, f2. I'm just queening.
Yeah, no, okay.
Whoa, whoa, slow down.
Basically, yeah, every single move is winning. Yeah.
b3 is winning, f2 is winning. Both are winning actually.
Oh, this is really nice. And then you're just threatening mate on the back rank. So if the rook moves, Peter, let's just rook c2 on the board. We might be seeing it. Peter, can we have that line because it just went too fast? Let's just take a look at that line.
But it's not nice at all. I have to tell you, it's not nice at all. It's just heartbreaking. I have to say,
Peter's having a heartbreaking moment right
imagine.
now.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, okay, now not only that, black is 2 pawns up already. He's the one attacking white's king, and black's king is perfectly safe. Bishop on d5. I mean, this knight f6 check is just completely unexplainable move because
bishop c1 on the board. Isn't queen a4 mate after bishop c1?
Whoa.
Queen a4,
just
queen d5,
threatening.
rook b2, and queen into d5, rook into b2. That's mate, right?
Okay, so 1 second. Queen a4 threatens a mate on a2 and b3 would run into queen into a2. So you've got to take queen d5 now. Oh my god, and bishop b2, you go queen c2
queen
check
c2,
and king a1, queen b2 mate.
Yeah.
So this means after queen a4, you have to play a3.
Okay, but it's already then completely hopeless. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, queen
Maybe just
b3
queen-
and finish.
Yeah, queen.
Yeah. Wait,
Peter, let's have that on our analysis
rook
board.
into
Queen-
c1.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
can we just show that?
Or rook
Because,
b2.
yeah, so queen a4, a3 is the other way to stop mate, and queen b3 threatening mate. And now if queen takes d5, the idea of rook takes c1 or, okay, rook
Yeah,
b2.
you can choose. Yeah, rook b2 or rook
Yeah.
c1 is the same.
Yep.
Checkmate.
Wow,
What a
queen
turnaround.
a4.
Yeah, I mean, it just, this game was basically a result of previous game, if I may say so.
Exactly.
Like,
I also
some kind
feel
of
like, yeah.
chain reaction.
Yeah.
But it started off as an opening. That's exactly what one would aim for when you want to try for a win with the white pieces. Jan got this complicated opening setup. Magnus not going for queen a4, but instead we've got a different update of moves.
Now queen a4. But that's very strange way to do it.
Yeah,
It's
but
still
black's position is so overwhelming. Yeah, everything is working that white cannot put up any resistance. Yeah, so queen d5 runs into the same checkmate as previously. Yeah, but so uncharacteristic. Yeah, Jan is so good in this type of positions. Move 20, he gets a very promising position, and then in 5 moves he loses. I mean, in 2-3 moves he loses it. It really shows that he was not able to concentrate. He was just not able to focus at all.
So queen a4 on the board. You can't take on d5 because of queen c2, and otherwise bishop a2 is the big threat with the mate. b3 is not possible. a3 is not possible. After a3, do you anyway go queen b3?
Yeah, why not?
Or queen c2, queen b3.
Yeah, that's even maybe stronger because then you're threatening mate on a2.
Yeah, no, this is, I believe you'll resign exactly at this point.
And after king b1, then you can take on a3.
Yeah.
No, king b1 already, queen a2, queen a1 is checkmate immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
I mean, also there was b into it. There were like so many options black.
Yes.
This is unbelievable. You know, after the kind of fight that we witnessed yesterday, this one just feels a bit disappointing the way things have gone.
Yeah, and it's all done in by one move mistakes. Yeah, it's basically I don't feel like Jan was losing the games. He was just making one move mistakes, after which the outcome was automatic. But it's very, very unfortunate.
I don't know, Peter, but you know, one gets the feeling that it's also the off-board circumstances and everything that's going on that it makes it harder for Jan.
Of course, definitely. In this situation to concentrate, and yesterday, that's exactly what I was worried about, that he gave everything, and then knowing that what situation he is and all this, it's just impossible to keep on focusing. Rook d2 played. Bishop takes a2, and Jan resigned.
And Magnus there with a slight celebration of his winning the first event of the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour. Magnus Carlsen is the champion of the Airthings Master. A phenomenal performance by the runner-up Jan Nepomniachtchi throughout, but today was just not his day. And there we have it. The two players have secured a spot by qualifying for the finals of the Airthings Masters in the first major of the event. Jan finishes second. Magnus Carlsen takes it. I think we're going to have an interview with the players very soon. Peter, Gangs, your thoughts on the way this final set went?
Very surprising, I must say. When I joined, it felt like it is going to be a very exciting match, but after this blunder, it just escalated so quickly. Like, it didn't feel like also Jan got exactly the kind of position where he excels. For example, this particular game, Jan is really this is his home. It's like he is the fish here.
He's the shark here.
Yeah, basically, I mean, he's like fish in the water. He's so comfortable in such complex position, but it just looks like he kind of carried his previous round emotion.
It all felt like it came down to that moment, rook d8, and losing that piece on the spot, and then a kind of a collapse in this one. And a very nice point Peter Gangs just made, that we were talking about Jan creating opportunities for a comeback in game 3. And he actually got that chance. He got Magnus in the kind of position where Jan thrives, where he wants to play and where Magnus feels uncomfortable. but then knight f6 and everything turned around one more time.
Yeah, there is also the big question, like maybe in a rapid game, just following Vishy's practical approach of, maybe objectively this is all wonderful for white. It looks very, very promising, very tempting, but the way how Vishy played bishop d4, old school castles, e5, not giving any counterplay. I mean, if black is not able to open up his bishop on b7 like it also happened in the game, we can see that this bishop, if it opens up, it can win the game for black. But if it gets shut down, then black is basically hopeless. And exactly against Magnus, I think this is the most important thing, also not to give him any strategical hopes, not to give him this feeling that he has counter chances. I think that here Magnus would have felt himself miserable with this construction.
Yes, it's very tempting to go for these tactical ideas and not for this strategic advantage that you mentioned, Gangs, from the Anand game, which Jan really had the option to go for, and this would be suffering for Magnus. Do you think that this would have been the better approach as well for him in this game?
Definitely. What I'm really curious is what Magnus had in mind. Did he just mix up his preparation, or he had some strong novelty around this area? This would require further investigation to understand that. And yeah, Jan was probably simply tempted with this broken structure, getting the knight to h5, and trying to capitalize on his time advantage. That's why he was really speeding up. And I think the mistake came around here, right?
Yes, and we're going to hear it. We're going to hear it from the champion of the Airthings Masters. Yeah. He's with us in the studio in Oslo.
Oh, I guess we are struggling with the sound on Magnus.
Or not. All right, we're going to wait for him to come back. Some technical issue there. Gangs, you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying that mistake came around here, right? Somewhere around here. Because
for example, one of the questions, that we were speculating that it's clearly not any preparation, so it's over the board. Jan has 15 minutes. The move bishop f4, for example, do you need to blitz this out? You already have like a 7-8 minute advantage. The position is very promising. It's a critical moment. Maybe bishop f4 is very good move, but there are also the questions, why not bishop d4? How do you compare? And if you compare these moves, immediately one gets the feeling that, okay, you need some time to understand which one and why you are choosing. There is just no need to rush. And I don't know what happened here, that how come Jan lost so much his focus and the grip of the position.
Yeah, and bishop f4, queen d8 was also a kind of star move. This was unexpected, probably. Maybe he was just counting on queen c6 and intuitively felt, queen d8 cannot be right because I can move the queen in any square with a tempo and something should pop up. But it turns out after bishop d5, it's not very easy.
Yeah, and in a rapid game, to find the move b2, b3, this really needs to be in your preparation to be able to blitz it out. But otherwise, in a rapid game, you just can't really think about such moves.
Because you're always looking for these direct options, right? You want to go knight f6, you want to go bishop e5, queen e5, knight g7. You're checking all these lines and then suddenly just slow down. Finally, we've got Magnus with us, so let's head to the studio.
Tournament win. Now you do it on the very first event. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it feels good, of course. I think these things are always going to be, about whether you can perform on that particular day and so on. So, but yeah, I mean, I had a pretty, my games were going in a positive direction here. I felt that I was playing better as the tournament went along, and fortunately that was enough. I do think he didn't show his best today, though. I mean, overall in the tournament he'd done very well, but today was not his day.
Yeah, it's definitely been a super intense final. Do you think his performance was the big difference from yesterday till today, or do you think something with your play as well?
No, I think I kind of did the same, trying to play complicated chess, but also making a lot of mistakes, which is pretty much the same as I did yesterday. But yeah, today he clearly made a serious blunder in the second game. I don't know really what happened, what he missed right there. That's probably up to him to answer. And then in the third game, he actually had a very promising position, but it was very complicated. And as we've seen over the last couple of days, having a good position in a complicated situation has by no means been a guarantee that you win the game. So I didn't really feel like anything was decided there at any point.
All right. And from what you've seen, Magnus, in this first tournament in the Tour 2022, some new players, young players, and a new format. What do you expect from this full season of the Tour?
No, it's going to be exciting for sure. As you said, we saw a lot of new and also young players do well here and make their mark on the tournament. The final, of course, ended up being between kind of two older rivals. So it's an interesting clash, both between styles and to some extent generations as well. And yeah, it was a very good start to the tour. I think it was an excellent tournament overall.
Yeah, and what can you say about your form? World Championship match, winning, of course, Tata Steel, fantastic. And throughout this tournament as well, after being sick in the preliminaries, playing fantastic in the knockouts. What can you say about your form?
No, as I said, it's on the upturn. I don't feel like I performed like much better than what I used to do last season in the knockouts, but I didn't have any like really bad days, which is often what plagued me last time. Like I didn't play perfectly at all, but I didn't feel at any moment that that my brain like wasn't really working or anything. I was just playing complicated chess and making mistakes. So it's on the upturn. That's for sure, and it feels really good to win the tournament, which started really in a difficult way for me with the preliminaries where I was nowhere near the top and didn't qualify until the penultimate round. So yeah.
So Magnus, what's next for you, and also how are you going to celebrate this victory?
We'll see. I mean, I managed to finish a bit early, which means that there's more time for celebration. But I haven't thought too much about it. I suspect my next tournament will be the next event, so that'll be fun. And before that, just try and recover a bit more and enjoy life.
All right. And finally, Magnus, you do receive a very cool NFT trophy for this win. You're second. You also got an NFT trophy for winning the finals last season. Will it be possible to collect all 9 trophies this season, do you think?
I very much doubt it, but I've won a couple in a row now, so I hope to keep that going.
All right. And there we see the trophy. Magnus, congratulations so much again, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
The champion of the Airthings Masters, Magnus
Carlsen is the winner of the Airthings Masters. Well, as they say, very often when Magnus is playing an event, it might seem like a race for second place. He's got an eye out to get he's out there to get all the trophies that he can collect. But of course, the other players will have something to say about that. We've seen it in this very event itself. Magnus did not have a very smooth way in, even though he did finish second the first day. We do remember him being a little shaky. Gangs, we had so many decisive games. I think this is the highest decisive margin that we've had, percentage that we've had in any event. It, of course, comes down to the amazing mix of players that we had with these youngsters, these ambitious young talents, as well as the world elite, but also this incredible format with the scoring system.
Yeah, this actually makes it quite interesting. And I always wondered what would be the classical score, in the same, how will be the standing. But it does not make huge difference, right? It's just a bit here and there. So, but yeah, it makes it, it gives more priority to win, and it makes the game more interesting.
I think the most important thing was that a lot of these players couldn't just draw their way into the knockouts. They had to fight. Yeah. And we saw a lot of heavyweights being actually knocked out in the preliminaries as well. We had Vincent who got in. We got Eric Hansen. So just a very, very exciting Airthings. Peter, it's been so much fun. Your thoughts and your final thoughts about the event that we just commented on.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to Magnus on winning this Airthings Masters. Well, what I feel like we spoke about this, he himself said that he was struggling at the beginning, but what always is really astonishing from Magnus, that when it matters the most, yeah, then he's always there. He's always on the top of his game. I don't know how he does this, but this really sets him apart of anyone else, because in all the critical situations, all the most decisive games he's winning, and he has performed again. He has delivered. And I have to say that, yes, it was an incredible fight, especially yesterday, but Magnus is absolutely the deserved winner of this final.
And I know things did not go the way Jan Nepomniachtchi would have wanted, but still, what a performance by Jan. He finished runners-up, but he played such entertaining chess and really gave us action-packed, dramatic moves on the board, starting from the preliminaries up onto the finals. Today was just not Jan's day. A big shout out to everyone who's watched this entire event with us. And I think for me, I can say that this has probably been the most exciting Champions Chess Tour event with the kind of chess we've seen, the drama that we've seen on the board. A big thank you to Airthings to make that possible, and to our fans and our viewers who've been joining us on Twitch, on Chess24, and on our YouTube channel. It's been amazing doing this with all of you. If you still there's no such thing as too much chess, do go on Chess24 and play some 3-minute games, because if you play, the ones who play the maximum number of games get exclusive access to masterclasses by tour players. You get these tour badges, which give you so many perks during the entire tour. I know that there is an amazing banter blitz coming up with Peter Leko very soon. So you'll have your opportunity to challenge Peter and have a chat with him while he tries to beat you. And there is an amazing 50% off with Tour is Back, because the tour is back. And we're going to have our second event starting on the 19th of March. Chat, do like the stream and do support us in every way that you can. Peter, there's so much love for you in chat and for you gangs as well. What would you like to say to them?
Peter.
Well, thank you very much. Really, this whole support and love means a lot. Yeah, that's why I'm commenting. That's why we are here. That's why we are all commenting. It's very nice to be part of this team. It's really fantastic. You know, there is no such thing as tiredness, because we give each other incredible amount of energy. We are enjoying what we are commenting on, and it's so nice to hear the feedback. Yeah, if the audience also appreciates it, if they also get so thrilled by all the action, then you just extremely happy. And I'm very happy that the tour is back. I'm back as well. I'm trying to plan like this. That's the whole idea, that basically I will be available for the whole tour. So I'm looking forward to all the events.
And I want to add that I know Tania, basically when she started playing chess, and recently I remember I was discussing I was doing some live commentary with her, and I found her, she has improved as a player. She's just, spotting things fast. Her understanding has improved. And I just asked her, how did this happen? And there was only one answer, and that was enough. I do commentary with Peter Leko. Live classes. You are bound to improve. There is no escape.
That is true. This whole commentary has been so much fun for me, gangs. You're absolutely on point for that. We've had so much fun breaking down the action. And gangs, thank you so much for joining us today for this final day.
Thanks, Tania. Thanks, Peter.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Surya. Thanks, Tanya. Yeah, I mean, all this incredible, enthusiasm that you are also showing all the time, and I'm so happy that I feel that also you are, whenever we are analyzing, you were coming up with such moves. I mean, yesterday you were already in the match against Artem. You have this bishop takes h3, knight f5. It's still inside me that, okay, wow. I mean, you had that feeling. Very, very nice to see this, and then keep on going, and we will be commenting and looking forward to be commenting all these events together.
All right, Veera, you have to stop before I start crying. But Chad, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the 19th of March.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Airthings.
Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game and get paired with players from around the world fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.